we saw the ever-consistent Mr. Alex Gillen, Lord Gillen, cross the finish line in first, getting back to his old ways to take the win. An absolute masterclass behind the wheel. Do we expect much less from Gillen? But don't get too comfortable because the standings are tighter than ever. We have Lolan Nova still on top, holding Italy's pride in his hands. We have Tia McMurdoch, Ben Daly, who is in second place as well. There'll be a lot of fan favourites looking for him. But with the speed and skill we've seen from both of them, this race could go anywhere, and any of the other drivers could win. Of course, we can't forget Infratic, Mr. Fabio. Canada was another classic Infratic moment, another DNF. Unfortunately, it just doesn't seem to have much luck there. The unpredictability of this series never fails to deliver, folks. It is all kicking off. I hope you're ready. We're back. Let's bring Alex in, who will be on Clipbook tonight. Alex, how are you, my friend? Welcome.
I'm doing good, Scott. I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this Grand Prix. It's obviously a good one. Back at the home of British motorsport, and I'm very much looking forward to clipping a lot. Obviously, it's a sprint weekend as well, so there's going to be a lot of clips to try and keep up for. But obviously, that is also your job, everyone. Everyone watching, you can get yourself some clips, put them in the clip chat, and I'll try and show them on stream.
I love that. Yes, we are at Silverstone, folks. There's going to be a lot of drama tonight, I think so. Let's look at the driver standings and the constructor standings first so that we can see just where we stand in this season. We have Lolan Oba in first place, like I mentioned, with 76 points, with Tia Murdoch only 7 points behind on 69. Don't forget Razan Chai, he's been very consistent, fair enough, 66 points for him. Kareem 78, you feel like he's either at the top or he has an incident, so that's him in fourth place right now, still decent. We have Ricky for Ferrari as well in fifth place, Ferrari looking strong. That guy Vince, love to see him in sixth place as well. Fabio and Fratic in the McLaren, still very weird to see it, but 36 points in seventh. Sapso eighth with 35. Alex Gillen, ninth place, but missed a bunch of races, so that's not a real true position. In Concept 7 and 10th place. Alex, can you go through the final of the grid for us?
Yes, of course. We got, speaking of grid jokes, up in 11th place on 21 points. I think it was Sanderson in 19th. GB, of course, being a reserve on 18 points. It seemed like a thumbs down there from Scott Taylor. Maybe I saw it wrong.
Sorry.
Sandy. Matt 212 in 14th place on 18. Then we've got Tom 97 also reserved up in 16th. Then Ryan on 12. Tukey on 7. Scotty Designs on 5th. Yorick and Chappers rounding up the bottom of the table on 4 points each. So it's all still to play for up towards the front. Obviously, Gillen missing a bunch of races, but still being in ninth place. He can still make up that gap.
Oh, I've got a good feeling we're going to have some chaos tonight. Let's look at the constructors, okay? Because this is what I'm interested in as well. We do constructors here. We have nothing there. Oh, there we go. It's Ferrari on top now. Imagine, is this copium? Is this like if Ferrari do well in Creator Series, they're going to do well in real life with that weird new wing? Is that just me? I'm really buzzing for that. We have Racing Bull still ahead of Red Bull in second and third. Alpine in fourth and Aston Martin in fifth. They will be lucky, real life Aston Martin, if they want to see fifth this year. Alex, what have we got after that?
Yeah, I mean, by the looks of what we've seen, they might be struggling just for the 10th place, but we'll find out. The Mercedes down in 6th place. They'll be hoping for better than that in real life, along with McLaren in 7th. I think Williams will be pretty happy with 8th, considering how they've started with Haas and Sauber down in 9th and 10th. I think they'll be expecting a little bit better in real life. But yeah, it's all close in the constructors as well. But yeah, Ferrari on top. Is that copium? We're going to find out.
All right, well, let's also talk to the voices that you're going to be hearing through this entire race. You know them. They're
form as well. Alex Gillen coming into this on a high. Tia Murdoch first podium as well last week. So we've got so many different drivers right at the sharp end. This is a circuit as well where Tia Murdoch, one of his most recent wins. So he's got a little bit of form around this place.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a while since we've seen Ben Daly win, but who knows what's going to happen moving forward. Right, if I can have us all up on the screen, before we get into the lobby, I want to hear some predictions from people, okay? I like to do this, and in the chat as well, I want to hear your predictions tonight, who you think is going to take the Silverstone race. I'm just going to go throw it out there. Gillen's on form. It's Gillen, for me, 100%. TK, what are you thinking?
Are we talking feature race here, or are we talking sprint race? Because obviously I think they're two different ball games here.
Let's let the folks know we have a sprint race. I forgot about that. We're going into a sprint race, which means even more chaos. No safety cars because we don't get them in sprint races. So this is it. You want some pure racing? Here you go. We've got even more opportunities for Fabio to bin it. Like, could this get any better? I love it. So, TK, for the feature race, I'm talking the big one. Who are you going for?
Oh, feature race. I think we're going to see a bit of a surprise here. I think we're going to see Ben go back-to-back at Silverstone.
Oh, I love it. Okay, Mr. Tom Wilkinson, who are you feeling tonight?
I'm going to go slightly different. I think this is one of his better tracks, especially without the racing line. I'm going to say Kareem 17 for a second win of the season.
I like it. And Alex, okay, let's go with you, mate. Who are you feeling?
Well, even though I'm not a betting man, the bets are on Alex Gillen to win. But I'm hoping we get a little bit of a surprise. It's Silverstone. You never know what's going to happen, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm sitting on the fence here. I'm doing the TK approach of sitting on the fence.
I love that. All I want to see is everyone having a bunch of fun tonight. Everyone, well, we've got you here getting ready for the start of the race. This is your call to action. We see fabulous clips all week long on the Creator Series social media. You get to see the highlights. If you can't see the full 2-hour stream, you can definitely keep up with us throughout the week on all of our socials, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, got everything as well. So please make sure you follow us, interacting with the stuff. It helps this whole enterprise go because we have so much fun bringing this to you. We're kind of running out of time before the DLC comes out as well, so it's all getting super, super exciting. I cannot wait. TK, do we have any special rules or anything for the sprint? It's been a while and I'm very bad at my job, so I can't remember.
Not that I'm aware of. It's go fast, try and win, and of course it's reverse grid of the championship, with the exception that I think reservists or brand new reservists will start at the back.
Oh, boo, we don't like the new reserves. Can't give them a helping hand, so they'll be at the back. But Silverstone Turn 1, like, this is such a fun track for me, I find. I feel like it's always like a fan favourite as well, Alex. I don't know if you realise it, but whenever we seem to have a fan vote for a while, we seem to just like Silverstone. Why do you think that is? Like, what draws you to Silverstone, Alex?
I think Silverstone is always going to be that classic Formula One circuit. You know, it's the home of British motorsport. We always come back to it, no matter what we have on the calendar. And I hope that stays like that forever. If we ever lose Silverstone, I think that'd be a really big shame on the F1 calendar. But I think it's also just the turns for it are fantastic. I mean, the overtakes, Maggots and Beckett's and Chapel, we're always going to have that awesome couple of turns. But also the opportunity to have rain in the race as well is always what we're going to see. The British weather, well, it has been this year anyway, you're always going to get a little bit of rain. But yeah, I'm really hoping that we get a bit of rain and maybe just a little bit more carnage overall. Carnage equals fun. That didn't really work in my head the way I wanted it to, but it's fine.
I love it. Yeah, not to dwell on it for too long, but obviously F1 is back, baby. We've had it this week. I'm sure you've all been buzzing. This has been the off season, and we love to stay on for the entire off season with the Creator Series. But we all love driving this game, which means we all love watching this game. We are back, baby. We have new regs, which means in the future EA is going to be giving us different new cars. Like, how excited are you, Tom Wilkinson? Like, it's back, baby, right?
Very excited. Excited for multiple things. Excited for the DLC to come out. With the way that things are working in real life, that might shake things up a little bit. It looks interesting in real life as well, even though the top 4 are still the top 4 and considerably the top 4 as well. But I think in all regards, Creator Series in real life, we're looking pretty nice.
I think you've got a very good point. TK as well, like, you're here basically every week, loving life. How's it going for you? You looking forward to what EA can bring in the future as well?
I'll tell you what I'm really looking forward to. This is just seeing Ferrari's rear wing, hopefully in the 26 DLC. Just whatever they've come up with. If you haven't watched testing, go watch testing. But the fact that they are turning an entire rear wing about 180 degrees baffles me and amuses me more than words can amount.
It's ridiculous, right? It's just none of us expected it. That became the story of the week, weirdly enough. 270 degrees it turns, and the moment I saw it, I was just like, offed. Now, we have creators like Fabio, right, and Fratic. He's now straight to the max. He's convinced Ferrari are going to win the entire season by 20 seconds. I don't know. Can I just say Aston Martin might be sandbagging? Is that unfair to say?
I mean, they're driving like their sandbags still on the car, but...
Oh.
Sorry if you're a fan of Aston Martin or Honda.
GB, close your ears.
I love it. Look, I know. It's so hard to see it all kind of happen, right? I'm so buzzing. Great Britain tonight with the sprint race. We'll see who's kind of... I always found this is a good opportunity for some of the slow drivers. It's obviously not full points, and everyone's fast enough. I don't want to insult anyone by slower drivers, but we've got some sweat lords in here, and then we get the more kind of normalish people. See, for them, sprint race, all good, straight ready for that. And very soon we'll be going to use the two Toms, eh? Let's do it. Take care, guys.
Well, there we go then. Starting grid, everybody, for the sprint race at Silverstone, the old Earl Grey of British motorsport, if you'll indulge me. Starting from the back, as we so traditionally do, for the first time in 84 days, Meraki makes his appearance back to the F1 Creator Series alongside another new reservist. Austrian Andy steps in to the Mercedes. In 18th place is the Italian stallion Lolly Noba that lines up alongside Timo Marduk, the first time that an Australian has started 17th here at Silverstone in February. We then move on to the next row of the grid. 16th place, Razin Chai, what once was a pad merchant, lines up alongside the line merchant Crim 7T, starts from 15th place. In 14th is the other Italian stallion, Ricky 03, lines up alongside that guy Vince. He's given us 2 thumbs up this week. Hopefully it will remain that way. Mr. Ferrari No More steps into his Papaya McLaren from 12th place with Safso starting from 11th place. In the top 10, Lord Gillen, for the first time in his career, starting all the way down in 10th place in February with Concept 7. The other 6 couldn't make it this week, so he starts 9th. We then have Grid Jokes, asking the question of how many jokes could a grid joke joke if a grid joke could joke grids. He'll start 8th alongside the man model himself, Adam Sanderson, who starts in 7th. Tukey starts in 6th place alongside Scotty Designs, the highest a Scotsman ever started on our grid here in Silverstone. The top 4 then, the flute man himself, Jorrit van Heppen, starts in 4th place alongside Chappers F1, who remains on controller, albeit now that he's got a wheel. And then our front 2, it's Brandon Miles who starts in 2nd place alongside Mango, the first time a fruit has lined up on pole position for the Creator Series in its entirety. And that is your grid for this afternoon then. And look at this, Tom, there is rain in Silverstone.
That is. It continues our tradition in the UK of it having rained every single day of 2026. So good job, game. Excellent work for realism there, A star. I think this does play towards some of the big guns. Yes, they're starting further back. Alex Gillen, a notable one, though. He's very quick in the rain. He's starting from P10. I would be shocked if he doesn't win this, I'll be honest.
It wouldn't be the first time that I think we've seen a dominating drive by Alex Gillen to come back from, albeit not necessarily his own fault, starting down in 10th place, but partially obviously doing well in the championship. I wouldn't put it past him, if anyone, to come back and win the sprint.
Yeah, he's said so many times, hasn't he, that he's not interested in the championship fight. He's not interested in fighting for the championship. But at the end of the day, the currency is wins and the currency is points. And if he's not scoring the points, we saw in Hungary, the first race that he attended this season, he finished down in P8, I think it was. But he was still pretty happy. But there's definitely that nagging thing in the back of his head. Once we get to Canada a week later, he wins that race as well. Okay, this is really why I'm here. This is the satisfaction that I'm looking for.
Absolutely. Still lots of rounds to go in the season. We're only just about halfway through in its entirety. Season 12 is slowly dragging its head along the way. And if you're questioning why in any of the chats we're live on today, why was there no stream last week? Why was there no race last week? Apparently it was something called Valentine's Day. But we're ready for the formation lap here at a very wet Silverstone by the looks of things. Our drivers in a tedious start getting themselves underway.
They've got to be extra careful on the formation lap, don't they, with some of the skirmishes we've seen in recent weeks, the front wing damage that Gillen and Ben picked up a couple of weeks ago. Scotty Designs has fallen foul of that as well, so they're going to be keeping their wits about them, I would expect, on this formation lap. Definitely intermediate conditions, though, I think it's fair to say. It doesn't look particularly treacherous. We go for the reverse entry drift there from Mango into turn 4.
I think the stat saying, let's hope he learned what brake bias is this time around. I think, if anything, that just confirms he hasn't. As he goes spinning around as they enter in towards the loop, he will nonetheless still line up on pole position. He'll be able to slot his way through the grid and get himself ready. Brandon Miles in second, as you see on the screen. Chappers in third, and as you were opting or alluding to earlier, everybody starting on that intermediate tyre, which is going to be the only acceptable option. It's not quite full wet territory yet, and I'd be impressed if anyone braved a set of slicks.
Yeah, not expecting the rain to subside either, so it should be these conditions for the entirety of the sprint. Remember, no mandatory pit stops in there either, so it will be these inters from lights to flag. The first lap is usually really important around Silverstone. Great opportunity to make up places. I think in the rain, some of those big guns towards the back are going to be extra punchy. I'm looking at Cream 17, Razin Chai, Tim Marlett down there. 14, 16, 17. They're definitely going to be going for some, maybe some optimistic overtakes in these opening couple laps to try and get themselves up to the likes of Safso and Alex Gillen, who are just around about the top 10.
That's some early predictions in the chat saying Jorrit for the win, says Phil. He's also watching the curling, I believe, the curling final, where Britain are apparently taking part. Who would have thought all the years of experience of sliding down driveways when I sit here in the UK sometimes accounts for a lot of things. More calls as well for Team Andy, lots of his fans popping in. I'm not going to try and repeat that on a live stream, but that is what Adam Sanderson said apparently a few hours ago as we get ourselves lined up on the grid. Adam Sanderson himself then will line up in 7th place on our grid this afternoon, opting for the white ball. Team Armada getting disqualified, as does Brandon Miles for missing his grid box. We are moments away from getting racing on this sprint race. 9 laps ahead of our drivers as Meraki, who rears his head for the first time in 84 days, drifts around the final corner. Just like Sonny Hayes in the Formula 1 movie, will line up at the back of the grid. Track map is on your screens. The other Red Bull and the V-Carbs just line themselves up. That'll be Razin Chai in 16th place, but from the front, Mango Slayer, also known as Just Mango, will start from the front. But we await 5 red lights. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 red lights. Lights go out, and we go racing down towards turn number 1. It's a very tentative start from all of our drivers in towards the first corner. The Joran van Effen down the inside of Chappers F1, gains the position off in the background. That's one of the Red Bulls. That'll be Adam Sanderson, and he gets a 3-second penalty for the benefit of corner cutting as well. But everybody else trying to make their way through. Lolly Nova at the back having a skirmish with not only the weather, but all of the drivers around him as they're 4 wide, exiting out of the loop and down towards Luffield and Brooklyn's corner. Everybody keeping it cool, calm and collected at the moment. Chappers wants to run on Joran, wants that position back. In towards the left-hander they go, side by side. Still with the elongated right-hander, Chappers wanting to try and hold it around the outside. Joran giving him inches of space as they run on towards the old back straight, but the Dutchman holds it.
Chapper's incredibly punchy there. You've got a rocket ship start, almost took to the grass to try and get past Joran on the run into turn 1, and Brandon Miles as well. Unfortunate for Adam Sanderson. Scott Taylor will be creasing at that one, but he was given a helping hand off the road by the McLaren of Tukey. Scotty Designs also wide there through Copse Corner with Team at Marnock now in hot pursuit. Look at the start though from Kareem 17, from 14th up to 8th. Now nose to tail with Alex Gillen already.
Talk about starts. Team Armada starting down in 17th, now finds himself 11th. The car behind him as well. That guy Vince starting down in 15th, finds himself 12th. So there's lots of moves being made early on here. Team Armada wanting to dispatch Scotty Designs, by the way, 3 wide as well as they head through that corner in towards the final section of this circuit on the end of lap 1. They'll have 8 more tours to complete this circuit before the sprint race is done. And everybody deciding that this race is quite literally one on the first lap. Mango have the second advantage over over Chappers and Yorick already.
Yorick here had a whoopsie going through the last corner. Through goes Chappers. Now off the road we go with Yorick through the grass and off the runoff area we go. Concept 7 right in the thick of the battle as well, and he knows it. Not going to be too much grip out there for Yorick on the outside. Through goes the other Sauber of Grid Jokes. Gillen there appearing out of shot as well, trying to go around the outside of 4 to nab 5th place away from the second Sauber of Grid Jokes. Surely we don't go around the outside of Aintree. You bet we do, because it's Alex Gillen.
Absolutely stunning stuff. Gillen already up 5 places from where he started. He'll now have Brandon Miles just in his frontward view. And the Aston Martin Kareem 17 looking for a nose down the inside of Joran van Heffen, in towards Luffield and in towards Brooklands, round the outside. A little bit of wing damage there. Car will be suffering. I'm trying to figure out who that was. Trying to keep an eye on all the front wings, but definitely someone has got damage in amongst that pack. I'm going to assume it might have been Kareem.
Yeah, I think he's just missing that left-hand end plate. That's why Fabio's come through. Jinky all over the place goes Yorick. Into the back of Yorick goes Fabio. Into the back of Fabio goes Kareem, and off the road again. You can see they're definitely missing substantial parts of that Aston Martin front wing. Tim Mark says, thank you very much. That is a freebie for the Australian ace.
Yeah, both end plates missing for Kareem 17, if not any more damage that we can't visually see on the screen at the moment. Just keep an eye on Chappers. He's gained a half a second already on the back of Mango. Alex Gillen dispatches Brandon Miles without a second care in the world as they run up towards what would be the Lando stand, in towards that third and final sector, and make sure to get the car slowed down. Both Kick Sabbers joined once again 5th and 6th respectively on our grid at the moment. The audacious gap between the two Williams though, looking at about 1.5, 1.6 seconds, could mean that we could have a 2-horse race for this sprint grid win.
100%. No DRS in this conditions either, but I don't think that's going to be holding anybody like Alex Gillen back. Already up into 4th, tracking very, very nicely. Fastest final sector comfortably over Mango and Chaps. And wait to see what pace Concept 7 has got now that he is in a bit of clear air, but he has got the former two-time champion just behind him to deal with. Other two-time champions, Timo Maraki's had a decent start, if unspectacular, up to 13th. Synchronized sliding out of the loop and through Aintree, but it's Mango that gets on the white line, loses the back of the car. Armful of opposite lockers. Chappers are going to try and dangle the nose down the inside into Brooklyn's. Little bit of contact. He was wide here through the opening. That nearly took one of the Hasses off. This time Mango does beta Dura and drops off the circuit, and that is the lead of the race changing hands.
Chappers has found form here in the wet conditions at the moment. Of course, no cease in the rain is expected to come our driver's way as they run down what is the old pit straight through Woodcote Corner, in down towards Cops. So we're going to see side-by-side battle between Grid Jokes and Brandon Miles. Grid Jokes gets the better, has the inside line, swoops on through. That says thank you very much for 5th place at the moment. This is causing a bit of a blockade here in Fratic. Sick of being stuck behind Jora van Heffen in towards Maggots, Breckets and Chapel Corner as well. On the long run down, the hanger straight up towards Stowe Corner. We're watching Timo Marduk wanting to get involved with this fight. No DRS, of course, to help them out of the run down towards Stowe Corner. But the opportunity, the slipstream is still going to come its way. Timo Marduk not wanting to get involved, swaying this way and that is Jora van Heffen trying to look for this way, any way past in Fratic, but can't quite do it as they head through Stowe.
Still jinking all over the place. Fabio, he tried it around the outside of Cops. That didn't work. He then got the move done on the exit, but it was all over the place, all on the wrong parts of the racetrack, going through Maggots, Beckett and Chapel. Now wide out of the Vale chicane. We go a bit of contact with Timo Marduk, barges his way past Europe Van Geffen, who once again finds himself falling outside the track limits.
That's a very stereotypical Timo Marduk move. When he saw the gap opening, sent it without any disregard for anybody else in his situation. Concept 7 now on the back of Mango as well. 2:10 separate them, and Chappers starting to pull away from this race. There was a little bit of a slide there from Mango as they headed out on towards the Wellington straight, up towards Brooklands, up towards Luffield Corner. The opportunity for the other Williams now to try and go around the outside as they head into Brooklands. Round the outside goes goes Concept 7, trying to get the better of Mango. Inside hangs itself through Luffield and through Woodcote Corner. Surely that move is going to be well and truly made. It is, but look at this, Tom. Here comes Gillen. Lord Gillen is rising.
This is where experience comes through in spades. Concept and Mango both fishtailing through Brooklands, trying to put the power down. Gillen sneaking past the Haas through Luffield, holding firm in third with the two Williams still leading the way. But you would be surprised, wouldn't you, if Alex Gillen doesn't make a move into Stowe Corner to get up into second place, and then he can charge after Chappers with still half the race left to go.
Absolutely that. We're halfway through this sprint race already. Chappers with 2 seconds of an advantage over his teammate Concept 7. I wonder if we're going to start to see the team game being played. Will Concept 7 play the defensive act against Alex Gillen? Grid Jokes now getting the better of Mango for 4th place as they head through Stowe Corner. The incredible speed around the outside for the Kick Sauber. Heavy braking zone in towards Vale. The inside line tends itself to Grid Jokes, and that move is done before Club even becomes a conversation. But keep an eye on Gillen just in front, right on the gearbox of Concept 7 as they head on towards the start finish straight, down towards the opening corner of Abbey and down towards Farm. I think we're going to be seeing a move set up here. Gillen, a veteran league racer, he knows his way around this circuit and he'll know where he wants to set this overtake up.
He's being patient. He's also been a little bit unlucky. He's caught right up to Concept at the wrong parts of the track through the final corner, for example, and through turn 1 as well. Best opportunity for a little while coming out of Aintree down the straight on the run into Brooklands. But again, good drive from Concept. Manages to plant the loud pedal coming out of Aintree, and once again, still managing to keep Gillen in his back pocket, and that is crucially helping his teammate.
Absolutely, and Chappers will be trying to run away as quick as his legs will carry him as they all progress through now. Through Luffield, through Brooklands and onto Woodcote Corner, the final run onto what would be the old pit straight. Alex Gillen still in the rear of Concept 7, who's just happy, just holding him there. I wonder if this is just a strategic play from Gillen. Knows when he wants to overtake. He doesn't want to go for a move slightly too early. Of course, no DRS games can be played at the moment. No DRS will be available for our drivers. Fabio further back, getting the better of Brandon Miles. That guy Vince gets the better of Jora van Heffen as well. So multiple drivers now starting to find their feet, maybe find their swimming trunks here at a very wet and windy Silverstone.
Some leaving themselves with a little bit too much to do in the back half of this sprint, though. Ben still down in 8th. Kareem, we know he's hobbled by that damage. Fabio making progress, now dives to the inside and takes 5th place off the hands of Mango through Stowe Corner. Ben will be looking to try and follow in his footsteps, but he's very wide over the curb through Stowe. Just about catches the car as Brandon Miles looking to try and dangle the nose down the inside into the Vale chicane to take 6th place away from Mango. Fastest lap goes initially to Chappers, then to Concept, who still is holding firm ahead of Gillen.
Certainly is. Gillen, though, fastest in the third and final sector as Austrian Andy picks up a 3-second penalty for multiple track limit violations. Gillen unable to dispatch Concept 7 at the moment. The Williams playing the ultimate defensive game for their teammate in front and just allowing that gap to remain at about 2 seconds between Concept and Chappers, and we ride on board, looking back at Lord Gillen as he tries to chase down the latter of the Williams cars on the run up towards Brooklands. Down the Wellington straight, looks to the outside line, hoping for an early switchback, but he can't seem to set it up at the moment. Or are we going to see that double switchback try and come into play here through Luffield corner on towards Brooklands? This time alongside is Alex Gillen on the run through Woodcut up towards the final. The old start finish straight. They are side by side as they head up towards Cops corner. Gillen gets the move done and now has an opportunity to battle for this sprint win.
Finally breaching the defences there of Concept, who just made a small mistake through Luffield, hanging the back of the car out. Little bit of a slide on exit, and that was all the invitation Gillen needed to plunder through and get up in between the two Williams cars. But for Chappers, what a result this could be if he can get the 8 points in his grasp. All over the place there as Mango over the curve. This should be fairly elementary, you'd imagine, for Tim McMahon. No DRS, of course, but with some battery and a little bit of slipstream as well. Former two-time champ should be up into 6th place if he's brave enough into Stowe, which of course he is. It's Tim McMahon, everybody. But Concept Set, or Chappers, I should say, only 4 points so far this season. Still going to fight this out is Mango. Not going to go down without a fight. Down the inside we go into the Vale chicane. Ben this time has it covered eventually, but Mango there holding on nicely as Gillen punches in the fastest lap of the race. Taken away immediately by Infratic in P5. Chappers, though, 4 points so far this season. 8 points he would get for this sprint win. That would be 75% of his total.
That he would. You can see Mango there. I think he was looking for a switchback as he headed through Club Corner, but almost that double apex was somewhat hindering him. He didn't appreciate or maybe intend to go as early as he did in towards that second corner. But Alex Gillen already gaining a monstrous amount of time in Chappers in front. He was 6/10 quicker over the course of last lap alone. So I think it'll be a question of if not when, he catches up to Chappers in front. Usually he has quick teammates. Let's see if he can help secure his first 1-2 in the creative. Unusually he has quick teammates. Of course, Meraki joining him in to the Alpines today. But I'll let you make your own assumptions on that one.
Indeed. Haven't seen a 1-2 since that epic finish. Remember back at Baku with Tom Bean and Razin Chai in the Alpine. So a very interesting one for those two there. But don't discount Grid Jokes either here, because he's cruised up to the back of Concept 7 as well. So he just needs to keep his wits about and make sure he does finish on the podium. But Grid Jokes has got some really solid pace. We know he's had great pace in the past. Only a tenth slower than Gillen on the previous lap. Half a second quicker than Chappers and Concept 7. As just behind them, outside the top 10. Big gaggle of cars battling for the minor positions, but not inside the top 10, or the top 8, I should say, yet.
Yellow flag. Johan Happen, I think, has spun Chapel Corner. You just see in the background there the Haas car just rejoining the circuit as they make their way down the hanger straight towards Stowe Corner. But up at the front, Alex Gillen sets another fastest lap of the race. This time around was about 1.5 seconds quicker than... No, not that fast. About 8/10 quicker than Chappers was. So really making those inroads.
Yeah, looking really strong. He's running out of time, though. Running out of laps, of course. Less than 2 to go now, but he is inside the 1 second window. No helping hand of the DRS. But he had to undergo a stern examination, didn't he, from Concept 7. He making it work very, very hard for that second place. You would imagine Chappers is going to do the same. This would be his first win in all forms in the Creator Series, but misses the apex of Brooklands by an absolute mile. And suddenly, right under the cosh with Gillen just there.
Turning in. Rear end getting loose for Gillen. More yellow flags. Once again, Jorg van Heffen just having more issues as they headed through the loop. But Gillen, it's always Gillen as they run down towards Copse Corner. The fastest corner quite possibly on this circuit. He's got an opportunity. He knows when he needs to try and make this decision. He's not under pressure from Concept 7 behind. 1.8 seconds is that deficit at the moment. They run through Maggots, Beckett through Chapel Corner, and the run down the hanger straight will start to come his way. He's getting slidey though, and he's got a question when he wants to try and make this move done. Is he going to be into one of the corners? Will he use the slipstream? But look at the straight line speed that Alpine has. Down the inside he goes as they run in towards Stowe Corner. Gillen takes the lead with just over 1 tour to go.
Superb run that, coming out of Chapel. Gave him the slingshot to blast past down the hanger straight and take the lead away from the Williams team. And watch the battle as well for the final spot inside the top 3. Not just Grid Jokes, but now Infratic applying the blowtorch to Concept 7. Meraki, the reigning champion, dicing and dueling with that Gubbins for the final spot inside the top 8, the points paying positions. Fabio absolutely flying in P5. He might just run out of time, runs out of road as well as he dips a couple of tyres into the grass through turn 1.
It's unfortunate. He was hoping to finish in the top 4 here. Of course, it would have been a great start for him. All the way down in 12th is where he was placed on the grid as they run in towards the loop through the final corner, through Aintree and up towards the Wellington Straight, down towards Brooklands, Luffield and Woodcote, the section of 3 corners that can open up a car so nicely. Down towards the old pit straight and down towards Cops Corner. More yellow flags. At the third and final sector, Yored, I think, has dropped out the final corner as he comes across the line limping with a tail between his legs. But back up at the front, Alex Gillen now a second to the advantage. That's someone else has got off Tukey. And the exit down the Wellington Straight. That McLaren car's got all kinds of wrong. But as we head in towards the back sector now, the second sector, with just one more to go, Gillen has the advantage through Maggots, through Beckett's, through Chapel. 1 second to Chappers, another second back to Concept 7. Grid Jokes right on the rear, though, of both of these Williams cars as they run up the hanger straight towards Stowe Corner. It's going to surely be a victory for Alex Gillen here, but which way will the podium go? Just through Stowe Corner. Just one more heavy braking zone for our drivers to try and navigate. We watch back up the front, the beautiful pink Alpine that will take itself to the front. He started down in 10th place. He's got one more corner to go. You never say rule out Alex Gillen, because you can't rule out Alex Gillen to win the sprint race to kick off the Silverstone Grand Prix.
Fabio went for the cheeky pit strategy, didn't quite make it work. Mango Slayer, though, in P7 will pick up points for the first time in the Creator Series. Holds off the reigning champion, holds off Grand Prix winners Datkovitz, Lolanober and Kareem 7T. And what a performance that is from the Haas driver. The 2 Aston Martins just outside the top 10. Ricky right in there as well. Good drive from Scotty Designs, by the way. Safso P15, 18th for Razin Chai. Stinker for the Racing Bulls. But I predicted it. Don't want to say that I got it absolutely right, but I did. Alex Gillen taking it by 2 seconds.
Absolutely fantastic drive. We'll have Razin Chai and Adam Sanderson just dragging their cars to the line as Jorik van Heaven DNFs somehow and somewhere. And up towards the line, Adam Sanderson. I think he stopped at the final corner for able to see what's gone on with the Red Bull. I think he might have just had a bit of a whoopsie, shall we say.
Just cruising over the line. Adam Sanderson's style. Style over substance, perhaps, sometimes. With Adam Sanderson. Unlucky, I think we said at the opening lap there. A little bit of contact with Tukey, who almost took his hand and dragged him off the circuit. But it is Alex Gillen, head of the 2 Williams cars. Big points for the Grove outfit. 13 added to their total. Grid Jokes and Infratic making up your top 5. Quiet but solid drive for Tim McMurdoch with a lot of his championship contenders failing to score points. Mango Slayer and Meraki on his return after 84 days, reigning champion just inside the top 8.
Solid point from Meraki, starting down in 20th. And then top 10, Vince, Lolinober, Karim 70. Scotty Designs, by the way, finishing in 12th place. A good result for him. Ricky 03, Brandon Miles, Safso, Austrian Andy, with Tukey, Razin Chai, Adam Sanderson rounding out your finishers. But Jorik van Heaven technically classified as he DNF within the last lap. But that's all from us, at least from the sprint race. Back to you in the studio.
That banging. I loved that. We had a combination of the rain, we had fast drivers being fast, we had people making mistakes as well. If that is any indication of what the main race is going to be like, I'm very excited for this, Alex. Like, how was that for your end? I loved watching that.
Yeah, it was good. It's trying to keep up with all the different clips that I've got, but I actually only got one clip, ladies and gentlemen. They actually did a good job of keeping up the thing. And I thought I'd show you what happened to Mr. Sanderson. Obviously, the commentary was saying that he was a bit unlucky in that race, and this was the reason why. Going into the first corner here, he actually got a decent start up into 6th place, and just got, unfortunately, bashed by Tukey, ran him off the road, and unfortunately had to go the long way around, let off the accelerator, and went from basically 7th down to 12th. And yeah, just didn't have the best of start. He's got a nice smile on his face, though, maybe more of a cheeky sense of that. But that's the only clip I got for us from that one race. But overall, it was a really good fun race to watch. I did see a couple of incidents overall. I think Kareem got a bit of wing damage on the back of Fabio. But yeah, it was great watching Gillen obviously challenging for that win. It was actually, he was very close to running out of fuel towards the end of that race. He was sitting about minus 0.10 the whole race, and then just managed to get up to 0.01. But we have the man himself, I think, Mr. Taylor, for you to have a nice chat with us.
Let's do it. Alex Gillen, are you here? Welcome, welcome.
Good evening.
Yes, there he is, mate. Very nice. Okay, you just seem to have something extra there. I'm guessing you like Silverstone. What was that? You were so fast.
Very nice. I like that. Very nice. Yeah, I'm buzzing. I'm buzzing with that, man. It's only my second ever sprint win. They don't come too often for me. Obviously started a bit higher than I perhaps have some other ones. P10, which definitely helped, but the rain did not help. I was also under on fuel, so I had to be fuel saving while I was also trying to catch people and trying to overtake them, but just staying out of trouble was key today. Just staying out of trouble, making sure I'm not getting any damage, making sure I'm making nice clean moves, and it came to me. One lap at a time, and it's another sprint win. Let's go.
I like it. If I have to compliment you on one thing during that race, it's definitely your patience. Myself and a lot of other drivers would have tried to make moves quicker. I know at one point, was it Concept 7, sort of had you for like a couple of laps and you just took your time.
Yeah, I don't know. There was a point where I maybe could have got an overtake done, but I kind of hit into the back of somebody in front. I'm not sure if that was Concept. And I was like kind of alongside, and I was like, it just doesn't quite feel right to me. So yeah, that was extreme patience in that case. But yeah, it was just patience. It was. I was like, I'm not going to win this if I'm getting damage. I think I've had damage probably the last few sprint races in a row. So I was like, no, just keep it calm. If it's a podium, it's a podium. If it's a win, it's a win. I just prayed that my pace would be enough, and it was today.
I love it. Well, it's been a good week for you, so let's keep it going. You are the person I did vouch for saying that they would win today, so you've already completed that 50%. Do we feel confident you can do it in the future?
Well, different beasts, because we'll have basically a reverse grid, probably, for the future. So, yeah, Silverstone isn't normally my best track, but I did do I'm going to call it, quite famous victory here in the reverse track at the start of this game, where I just held people off on older tyres because of the dirty air. So,
oh yeah,
it's not a bad track for me, but it's not one of my favourites, that's for sure. So, I guess we'll see what we can do. I'm actually not sure of the rules. I don't know if you guys can help me here live on stream. I wasn't sure if I was allowed to run a different setup in that to what I am in the feature. I ran my dry setup just in case I wasn't able to change it. Do you guys, I mean, I know Gareth's in chat. Surely Gareth will know whether we're allowed to change the setup between a sprint and a feature these days?
You've just put me in the spot, Gillen. What are we doing here? Like, I know.
I'm interviewing you now. I am the
What's
captain
happening
now.
here, mate? You cannot test the presenter like that. I turn up and I smile. Come on. No, Gareth, if you could repeat that in my ear, please, and I'll like. No way of enforcing it, but you should not change it. So there you go. With you with your fancy VSE setup cover, we will never know, will we? So there you go, Gillen.
No, I did. You know, if the rule's there, I'm happy to abide by it. So I ran the dry setup. That did help me, to be fair. Having low wings definitely helped me. I think I was missing a little bit of raw pace,
yes.
But the low wings definitely helps a couple of overtakes. So yeah.
Love it. Well, I'm sure we'll hear you in about, oh God, how long's the race? About an hour 20. I'm sure you'll be back chatting away, waffling as usual, but it's been a pleasure, Alex. You absolutely nailed it, mate. Well done. And good luck in the race.
Enjoy the race.
There you go. Oh, there you go. Thank for him for putting me in. I didn't know the rules. I'm sorry, guys. You think you know all the rules? I'm sorry. The two Toms, they know every rule, so we'll go to them soon as well. Alex, okay, now you've seen people. Okay, yeah, let's talk a wee minute about it. So here's what I noticed. Let me know if I'm wrong. Fabio was actually looking quite fast. Usually I would imagine Tia McMurdoch maybe having a little bit of the edge on him, but not that sprint race. TK, thoughts?
I think he is a quick driver on his day. He's probably one of the more solid and reliable drivers in the wet. That's the way I'd put it and way I'd look at it. I don't think he was necessarily on his finest form today. We've seen better Fabio drives. We've also seen better Team Mardic drives as well. But I think today we were absolutely, well, all the drivers were shown by Alex Gillen how to drive Silverstone in the wet. It was a dominating performance.
Yeah, it was nuts. Wilkinson, were you a bit surprised how low Razin was?
I didn't see what happened to him. I don't know if he got caught up early on because both of the racing bulls, Safso had a difficult one as well. I think he was P15, and maybe that comes into why Ben was a little bit more cautious. If we look at the standings that we've got the spreadsheet, Ben was the only driver inside the top 5 in the championship, 2 score points in that sprint. So didn't necessarily need to take a risk at the end because of the struggles for Lolly, struggles for Razin in particular, Kareem as well. So I didn't see what happened to Raz. We know what happened to Kareem. I think Lolly just had a bit of a quiet one as well. So consolidation, just building towards that championship leader for Ben.
It's not often I forget about Lolly Noba this season. He's been on fire, but you're right. There was just he was just lacking something there. I don't think he's mentioned it much because he was just in formation, just kind of doing his thing. So hopefully he'll kind of shake himself off a little bit. Alex, you were looking more individually around the streams. Was there anyone that we're maybe not talking about that we should be talking about?
Well, I mean, we haven't mentioned him yet, but the man who's leading the race until right at the end of the Grand Prix Chappers, I thought had a fantastic run in the wet. Obviously, I know he's running on a controller, and there is obviously the people say that you get better traction on a controller and whatever you say, but I think there's not really that much difference personally. I think TK just likes to say that because he's not very good. But the overall, I think he did a really good job, and I mean, he was very close to winning that race. I think Gillen, as he was mentioning, I was watching him think he had to fuel save. He was fuel saving through the Grand Prix. He just underfueled ever so slightly, and another lap in that race, and he would have run out of fuel before the end of the Grand Prix. So I think it'll be interesting going into now a full race. Obviously, it's going back to random weather again, so we could see some more rain on the horizon. I think if there is rain on the horizon, it will give advantages to those that maybe have a wet setup they were running in the last race. But as we mentioned, Gillen was running a dry setup, so it seems to be a little bit, one of one and one of the other. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely. Gillen, breaker of hearts. I was really rooting for the Williams guys there. Obviously, Gillen's had enough wins here. I want to see those guys get. They were so close, but I'm sure that would give them the confidence to say that yes, when I'm given the opportunity and when I'm not getting bashed around by anyone else, I can be decent enough speeds. Like Gillen was just flying there. Looking into the race, that's when it's going to get a little bit more interesting. You're right, with the weather, obviously. A bit quiet from Tia McMurdoch. He's a fan favorite, TK, and he can be a bit all over the place sometimes. He can be very happy, very angry, but he needs to just sort of level it down, I think, if he's got any chance of a podium, right?
I don't say necessarily to have to calm it down. I don't think that's the way to look at it with Ben, right? He's one of these drivers that knows his style, and when you get a race that is to his style, he is like he's driving on rails. He is picture perfect. He's moment perfect with every single braking zone and getting the corners. The minute he's outside of his comfort zone or not in the flow state that he needs to be in, that's when we see those issues step in. It's the little bit of he's missed his braking zone by a little bit. He's not necessarily turning into the corner right. You can tell when Ben's uncomfortable.
Yeah, he had that one moment where I really thought he was going to spin out, to be fair.
Yeah.
Right, if we can look at the standings quickly before we get this race sorted for you, it'll give us an understanding of kind of where we are. So, Teammate Mardo's got closer, Alex. He's getting, look at that, 4 points in as well. Alex, how about you take through the first top 10 for us this time?
Yeah, so Lonova's still at the top, but Tim Murdoch right now on to 72 points, so he's closing in. Razin and Kareem on 66 and 56 respectively, with Ricky, that guy Vince, and Gillen on 49, 43 and 42. Gillen closing in the fact that he's won, a main race in Canada, and now the sprint race in Silverstone. So going to that main race, he'll want to win again, with Infratic in 8th place after another good result, Safso in 9th, and then Concept 7 in 10th, with another very good result for him as well.
Yeah, Grid Joke's in 11th. I've got a funny feeling that's going to change tonight. He was looking quite fast as well. Sanderson in 12th. Unfortunate for him. I've been there in that spot. It's just sometimes you're the guy that just gets forced off. There's nothing you can do there. GB still in 13th as a reserve. Kicking back. Good on him. Matt 212 in 14th. Tom 97 15th. Ryan in 16th. Chappers 17th. That might change as well because he was looking... Pardon me, he was looking quite fast. Tukey 18th, Scotty Designs in 19th, and Yorit, who seemed to have a struggling sprint race. We'll see what happens. He's very good at setups for F1 cars. Is he as good driving the F1 cars? We're going to find out tonight. Yeah, banging, buzzing for it. A funny feeling we're going to see some carnage tonight, Alex. I think when safety cars are turned on, there was probably a moment or two that could have already warranted that. But obviously, with sprint races, we don't get that. Yeah. Maybe even a red flag.
Ooh, spicy red flag. Could be a spicy red flag to see that. That'd be good fun. But it's a long old session. But I think we're loading into the qualifying session. So, Scott, I'll let you do your job and throw it over to the Toms.
Brilliant. Well, it's been a pleasure, guys. We'll see you after the race. Remember, hit follow, hit share, let everyone in the world know what we're doing right now. TK and Tom, please take it away. We'll see you soon, okay?
We'll see you soon indeed. And oh my goodness, who would have believed it? Who would have thought or saw this coming? More rain on the horizon here at Silverstone.
I mean, deja vu. Although I can't see anybody in the garages, and I feel like I can just see in the bottom right some cars on the grid, which isn't necessarily how qualifying tends to work.
No. We'll wait and see what's going on. Maybe the race director just decided that we're having a rolling start to qualifying. We're going to do like Indy 500 rules.
There we go.
Best over a few laps. There we go. It's all appeared on our screens now. Happy days. Wet weather conditions mandate that we're actually going to go for the fastest average lap over the course of the session.
100%. Like they used to do with, I can't remember the word, the qualifying that lasted over 2 days when they did it on low fuel and high fuel. Aggregate qualifying. That was the word. You might have said aggregate, and I then just completely ignored that you said aggregate and then couldn't think of the word aggregate.
Well, we're getting ready for qualifying then. Of course, Inter's pole is still a feature even with the wet weather conditions. The quickest driver who sets their lap on the intermediate tyres before that clock strikes 12. It's like a Cinderella story, just without as many pumpkins and nice shoes, I guess.
No princesses either, because we don't do that here. You don't get that. You don't get that much of a reward. Just the 1 point. You know, we're not going to get too greedy.
Well, you're absolutely right. 1 point will be handed out once that clock strikes 12. And the first driver out, it looks to be one of the V-Cubs. It's our man himself, Safso, making his way onto the grid. Oh, we all love Clover all over the world.
If you know, you know. Safso's usually the first out as well. I failed to remember a time where he wasn't the first driver to attempt an intermediate pole position lap.
It's interesting that they normally attempt Inter's pole lap when the Inters aren't the recommended tyre. And now everyone is going to be going to set laps, and we don't have to realise who's on the Inter's tyre and who's on the full soft tyres.
This might be a scenario as well, a rare one, where we have people go for multiple laps here, because there might just be an opportunity if they can get their skates on. It could be a bit touch and go, obviously. It is going to be a longer lap in these conditions, as Safso can see, trying to get some heat into his rear tyres through Luffield, as he's almost perpendicular to the surface.
Just turning to the right, it's one way to look at it all as they make their way through, but everybody, and we can confirm everybody's on intermediates. Surprise, surprise. With the rain conditions that are belting their way down on the circuit at the moment. Safso makes his way in towards Beckett's and Chapel Corner, and the run down towards Stowe as well. The opportunity for him just to get some heat in the tyres, and it looks like there's like dry lines being formed. I think that is just from races gone past here at Silverstone.
It does look brighter than it did in the sprint, though. I'm not saying that there's sun poking through those slightly aggressive grey clouds over the horizon, but definitely slightly brighter, so who knows, maybe it will dry out come the end of the session.
Well, we'll wait and see, won't we? Because, of course, here in Great Britain, we don't necessarily have rain, we just have no rain. That's the, no sun, we don't have no rain. That's how you have to look at it. But Safso rounds the final corner to kick off what will be the first of many laps here in qualifying.
Got to try and work these intermediate tyres. It will be a bit of a culture shock, because normally in this position he gets all loosey-goosey first at the apex of turn 1, and then over the exit curve through turn 1. This is going to be a little bit more like jumping into the deep end. They're not used to driving the intermediates in qualifying in these conditions, the conditions that are built, of course, for the intermediate tyres. I think he's going to get a lovely little slipstream here down the Wellington Straight from one of the Red Bulls in front. Is that Adam Sanderson giving him a helping hand?
Certainly looks that way. Of course, the other driver out and out lap. Chapper's bolted on the soft tyres. That's a very bold choice for wet weather conditions. Maybe assumes that the Inter's pole lap goes the other way when the rain is continued to forecast. You can always tell Safso just trying to navigate that car through the exit of Luffield, on towards Brooklands and on towards the old pit straight, trying to get every ounce of lap time that is possible. It's a purple in the first sector, as to be expected, but Yorick cannot go quicker in the first sector. So at the moment, Safso sets himself a sight for provisional Inter's pole.
Just a tenth between them, but this is where you would imagine the time is lost. Copse Corner and then through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, where we see how committed the drivers are, how much they're willing to risk on these tyres, how much confidence they have, not just in the front, but the back end of these Formula One cars as well. And we'll wait to see, as Yorick is only a few seconds down the road, whether Safso still holds the advantage over the flute playing fraud as he piles down in towards Stowe.
I wondered where you'd go with that, and then you called him a fraud, which I'm not saying is incorrect necessarily, but in towards Vale we will go on board with Safso through Club Corner, and we'll set the first of the time. Lottie Nova, just to keep you updated, has gone purple in the first sector by himself for the time being. Chad Safso across the line, 38.7 for himself. Yorick will be next to come through as he progresses through Vale in towards Vale, through Stowe. Through Club Corner he will go. And what can Yorick Van Heffen try and conjure up here this afternoon? It's two personal best sectors. Of course, no personal bests have been set. Crosses the line at 39.4 to his name.
Looked a little bit reluctant to go into the Vale chicane there. Really had to try and have a couple of attempts, a couple of stabs at getting the front end to rotate and bite and do what he likes. So it is still Safso, Season 1 champion, leading the way with 90 seconds remaining for the intermediate pole time. Lottie Nova, though, comfortably quicker in the first and the middle sector.
Keep an eye on, well, I was going to say Razin Chai, who went fastest in the first sector. That's immediately been stolen away by both Team Marduk and now Alex Gillen. So that purple sector changing hands quicker than Yorit and his flute, as we watch with Lonnie Ober making his way through. Club corner on towards the start-finish straight. The Italian stallion looking to try and reclaim Inter's pole. Riccio 3 gets there first. Lolly Nova steals it away with a 37.7, just over half a second quicker than his Italian counterpart. Next across the line, who is rapidly flying, will be Razin Jai, 18th place at the moment, as he makes his way at the exit of Chapel Corner, down the hanger straight and towards Vale. And he's got a slipstream from his teammate. That is stunning. Safto doing all the work.
He's in a good position, but he needs to find a little bit more time. He is matching Tim Marduk blow for blow in the first and the middle sector, but Alex Gillen has absolutely blitzed the middle sector. 4/10 quicker than anybody else. Our sprint winner could be picking up yet another championship point, because it looks like nobody else is in the same postcode at the moment.
It is looking that way. Razin Chai towards the line, 37.4 for himself. Lots of times coming thick and fast. Team Marduk goes second fastest. Sanderson across the line goes fifth. Keep an eye on our sprint winner though. Alex Gillen with 9 seconds on the clock steals Inter's pole away. 36.844, and surely that'll be it, as we see Brandon Miles cannot get to the line in time. Alex Gillen, absolutely stunning lap to claim Inter's pole.
Hold the bank, because that is a bank raid by 0.6 of a second. If you wanted to see a marker put down, forget the sprint. That intermediate pole lap is stunning from Gillen, and it's all the more important because these are the conditions that we actually have at the moment.
He made the cut-off by like 3 seconds too, apparently, says Gareth Allen. Yeah, 9 seconds as he came across the line. That's what he was at. So absolutely stunning lap by Alex Gillen. Fantastic stuff.
You do have to question, I don't want to throw it into disrepute already, but has the rain subsided ever so slightly, and may he be the beneficiary of being one of the last out there? Because I can't see any rain, and the track definitely looks a lot dry, and we are seeing more soft compound tyres being selected. So we've just absolutely glazed Alex Gillen there for that lap time, but maybe had a bit of helping hand from the conditions as well.
Yeah, that rain stopped. You can see on that camera shot that looks all the way down towards Stowe Corner, where the Lando stand would be as they come through the final corner. Aboard with Mango, still a bit of a rear kickoff as we head up towards the line, and we are seeing a little bit of cloud dispersion beginning to happen here in Northamptonshire. So I think, yeah, as much as we praise Gillen for his lap, how much do we attribute to the weather starting to pick up slightly?
The fact that it's 0.6 per second, I'm going to say there is definitely an element of driver skill involved in that one, as Grid Joke's falling foul of the track limits. His first sector was pretty competitive, but that lap is going to be thrown in the bin. It's now Tuki going fastest in the middle sector. Cream doing some lawn mowing there as he tries to get in front of one of the Alpines into the pit lane. Cream didn't get a lap in on the Inters, and he's now jumping back into the pits with just over 10 to go, probably to bolt on those soft tyres.
I think that was Gillen. He just got ahead of absolutely fantastic stuff as he came barreling across the grass in towards pit lane. Concept 7 goes quickest on the set of intermediates. It won't necessarily count towards the Inter's pole run, but of course it gives them a little bit of confidence now the track is starting to ramp up slightly. Joran van Heffen, the first driver, out on a set of the soft tyres. Chappers, I believe, just behind him as they make their way down the Wellington straight in towards Brooklands and Luffield Corner. We'll keep an eye on Safto on Yorit here, just to see how those soft tyres are faring.
Didn't look particularly nice going through Luffield, but the DRS is enabled, and on the F1 games, that is usually the telltale sign that the Delta has switched from the Inters being faster to the soft tyres being quicker. So we should be seeing a lot of drivers piling up. What's the strategy? Do you just go for one lap on the softs right at the death of the session, try and extract the maximum from the best track conditions you'll get? Or do you give you that little bit of acclimatization phase? Do you go for a run now like the likes of Yorit are doing, Safso potentially doing as well, along with Chappers in the Williams, and then you're a little bit more warmed up, you're in the rhythm and the flow a little bit more by the time you get to the business end?
That'd be the question I think that everyone's asking. How do you deal with these changing conditions? Are we going to see drivers maybe wait right until death's door and not go for a run until they're confident the track is up to temperature and up to speed as well? You know, you don't want to try and risk running yourself into a barrier if you don't have to. Joran van Heffen starts what will be his first competitive lap on a set of the soft tyres, but it's going to be that interesting way up of opinions for many drivers. Do you go out now and risk, you know, carolling towards a barrier if you touch a curb wrong, because they are still going to be damp? Or do you just wait, be patient and risk it all on one lap like we've done, seen with Razin so many times before? We're being told this is our second appearance of Joran van Heffen this season. Let's hope the flute is playing out loud for all to hear. And again, I think this is an if you know, you know situation. If you don't know, go watch the Creator Series Winter Cup. It's available on our YouTube.
Took the words straight out of my mouth. If you want to know Yorick's flute playing, although some might argue that it's a recorder, but that's up to the jury, head over and have a look at that video. A lot of fun. Vibes were brilliant, and Yorick definitely contributing to the excellent atmosphere that was created at that event.
It was a stunning day out, or a couple of days out. We had a lot of fun at Williams HQ, and again, massive thanks to those guys for having us there for our Winter Cup. It was stunning. And yes, you're right. It's a difference of opinions, I think, whether it's a recorder or a flute. All I know is it's a wooden wind instrument that you use with your mouth, and I'll leave it at that.
Yes, and he'll be leaving that lap of that as well, because he's just invalidated coming through Chapel. And that first attempt on the soft compound tyres is going to be absolutely worthless on the timing chance, but it does maybe give him some experience of the conditions. You can see Chapel's there really cranking on the steering because he tries to rotate the car through Stoke Corner, I should say. Unsurprisingly fastest first and second sector, and this should blitz the current provisional pole time.
Is Chapper's on his wheel? Because it looked like he threw the car into Stowe. He's gone provisional pole position at 28.1, and I was just thinking about, he threw that wheel in on effects that you cannot do on controller.
That looked like a lot more rotation, and the steering angle that he managed to achieve was not what I would attribute to a controller player. So answer on a postcard, we'll see what happens there. But he is 8 seconds now faster than anybody else. Safso up into second, although he's still on the intermediate tyres. Interesting one from the Season 1 champion. I think it is time to get off those because he's 2.7 seconds slower.
Waffles in the chat, great name by the way. The 49th Waffle to enter our chat by the looks of things, has said no, he's not on a wheel. I'm disappointed, but I know what my eyes are seeing here, because unless he's got better controller settings than I ever did, because the way he threw that car into Stowe looked professional.
Yeah, I've never seen somebody have so much control on a controller. Sounds ironic to say, it sounds stupid to say, but when you're on a wheel, traditionally you can be so much more precise with your input. Lolly trying to extract as much slipstream as he possibly can, almost clatters into the back of one of the Red Bulls, but he's tracking along pretty nicely. Lolanoba, never taken a pole position before in the Creator Series. Is this the opportunity as his teammate goes fastest by a further 2 seconds?
Absolutely. Riccio 3, the first of the Italians, going fastest overall. Lolinoba through the final sector. He is purple in that middle sector as well. Towards the line he goes. Fastest, 25.5 for Lolinoba. The first driver into that elusive 125 margin. I wonder if we're going to see anyone into the 124s in the last 6 minutes of qualifying. Scotty Designs, by the way, puts himself in the 25s. One of the best qualifyings we've seen from him in a long while.
Not fastest in any sector, but also only a 10th slower at his worst sector in the middle sector. He matched Lolly blow for blow in the first and the final sector, so some really nice pace there from Scotty Designs, able to split the Ferraris, who have been so strong so far this season. Dak Gibbons also putting in a decent performance so far, got his first ever pole position in Hungary a few weeks ago. Can he topple Lolanoba? No, slots in between the Ferrari and the Aston Martin.
Oh, bit of a wiggle there from Grid Jokes through the final corner. You can see the rear end of the Sauber not necessarily playing ball. Chai up towards the line. Improving, and goes fastest at 25.5 on the board for himself. Next across the line, Mango, the sweetened fruit himself, towards the line. He'll go 7th fastest.
This is really tight at the top. Definitely Tim and Mullet looking to try and get involved as well. Fastest first sector, only driver getting to the 26s, but it's only P4, not a particularly good final sector for Ben. Lost 4/10 to Razin, maybe didn't get a slipstream.
Brim's going fastest in the middle sector, 34.9 for himself. The first driver to go into the 34s in the middle sector can only attribute... sorry, that's a different car. That's Meraki's he came across the line. Confused me for a brief moment. Now Karim comes up towards the line. He crosses it, goes 25.3, fastest overall.
That's a significant lowering of the benchmark, considering from Razin to Scotty, that gap is pretty much the gap, or Lolly to Scotty, I should say, is the gap from Kareem to Lolly. So just putting a bit of a marker down. Here comes Fabio around the final corner. The only driver yet set a time, but he jumps up inside the top 8, just underneath the 126 barrier. Scotty, though, we have to commend that lap. P7, after all of the drivers that you would expect, except maybe Alex Gillen, have laid down a competitive time.
I'm assuming this driver information is meant to represent the song Ruby by Kaiser Chief. So, creamy. Yeah, you're welcome for the bleeding ears, everybody at home. But we'll continue on. That will do, says Gareth, our producer behind the scenes, as Karim 70 holds the fastest lap at the moment.
Yeah, he'll be hoping to cause a bit of a riot with the pace that he's currently showing out there. We're always on the ball, aren't we? Now doing the lawn mowing for the second time this session, trying to get back to the pits as quickly as he possibly can. Looks a bit bumpy there over the runoff area. Should get back with plenty of time in hand. Fabio might need to get his skates on a little bit more, though.
think he'll be looking for some more employment after this performance so far as he heads his way down towards Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, and just deciding to cut out not one, not two, but three of those corners and spinning in the process. Oh, that could have been a heart-in-mouth moment for Fabio as he made his way up towards the final section of corners. Imagine if that ended with him in a barrier.
Yeah, there'll be an angry mob waiting if he doesn't get back to the pits with all of his components still on the car. And some interesting lines there going through turn 4. Bit of gravel involved there for one of the Hasses. This is the Creator Series debut, though, for Austrian Andy. But we can't be 100% sure that he is actually Austrian. That is, well, still a little bit up in the air.
I don't know. Can you assume someone's nationality? Is that the modern way? We'll have to keep an eye out for him and see how he manages to progress through Leffield and the Brooklands. He will go, joined by Jari van Heffen, of course, the resident Dutch native, as they make their way into the back straight, just getting themselves prepped and ready. We're in this kind of lull at the moment, if you can't already tell, where drivers just get themselves in towards the pits in preparations for their final run. And those will be Concept 7 and Scotty Designs, by the way, that will be kicking those off.
Yeah, Safso out there as well. Hasn't set a lap time on the soft compound tyre. Apparently fastest in the first sector and is a second and a half up on his personal best as we wait for the times to come through. But yeah, needs to try and get this time on the board. He has gone out slightly earlier than some of his rivals, so maybe this is just an opportunity for himself to give himself that safety net. If this first lap does go wrong, he's got the fuel in the car to go again.
I think that you're absolutely right. That safety net element, and oh my goodness, yeah, the car is getting all sorts of wrong at the exit through Copse Corner and just will have to back off. The lap's not been invalidated technically, according to the game, but surely it won't be a quick and rapid lap time.
That car does not look hooked up at all, and all the wrong parts of the road going through Copse Corner. Still a decent looking lap time from Safso, but maybe not quite challenging right at the sharp end. His first sector was decent, competitive in fact, but around about 4/10 off the outright pace through the second sector.
I'll tell you one good thing about Safso. He never misses a beat, does he?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's hard to be skipping a beat after what happened there going through Copse Corner. Around the final we go, though. Where's he slot up? P8, just behind Scotty Design.
Who's this going slightly? Brandon Miles. You can see on the picture-in-picture just down the bottom right-hand side, just getting himself prepped and ready to go for one final run here this afternoon through Copse Corner. He will go. Thankfully, no drivers ending up in that barrier. Very similar to Max Verstappen back in 2021, I want to say. But Brandon Miles through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel Corner. Jari van Heffen has retired. That is surely in the pit lane as he decides he cannot get one final run. Austrian Andy through this complex conundrum of corners for himself, and he'll run up the straight towards Stowe Corner as well.
If you look at the track map, good little sector there for Austrian Andrew. You can see Fabio there just coming up to Copse Corner now with 40 seconds left on the clock. Now, there are going to be drivers backing up. I think for both McLarens there, this is going to be a race against the clock to try and get round in time to start a final flying lap.
Well, they're coming home, aren't they? That's the question. They have to get back to the start-finish line to start one final run. Austrian Andy through the final complex of corners up toward the line. Where will he go? 16th fastest at the moment. But the question is, with 18 seconds left on our timekeeper's clock, who's going to get pole position? Let us know in the live chat down below who you think is going to take it right at the final opportunity. We've had lots of calls for Fabio already. We watch on board as both McLarens make their way through the final complex corner. Scotty Designs retires through the final corner. Oh my God!
And Fabio just about gets over the line. His teammate let him go through. So Safso done, Scotty done, Tukey done as well. Going to be starting, you would imagine, from the back unless Alex Gillen makes an almighty mess of his final lap. Concept 7 with a bit of a slipstream there from the Haas of what I believe is the AI-driven Mango. Barreling down towards Stowe Corner. Opportunity for Concept, but he needs to get this right. He's under the microscope as he's coming to home.
Yeah, absolutely is. In towards the final complex of corners, through Spale Corner, in towards Club then. For Concept 7, can he prove that he is the best concept that he's ever come up with? Towards the line he goes, 11th fastest for the Williams.
Trying to look at the telemetry, Tim Marlick aced the middle sector, but he didn't find an improvement in Sector 1. Watch out for him as a sprint winner, intermediate pole setter. Can't take away provisional pole from Cream 17. Gridjo's to 6th. Chapper's only 15th, though.
Lots of opportunities for drivers to improve, but nobody setting purple sectors at the moment. Timo Marnick, third fastest overall, up towards the line. Riccio 3 can only go 12th fastest. The other Italian, though, goes to the top of the order at 25.252. The Italian stallion, at the final time of asking, can go quickest overall. But keep an eye on Razin Chai. He's fastest in the first sector. Not a personal best in the second. Can't quite do it in the third. Dagko Vince as well sneaks his way up to second place. But as it stands, Lolly Nova will start from the front in Fratic. could not improve.
No riposte either for Kareem 7T, getting bumped down at the end by the Ferrari in the Silver Arrows. He'll be riding alongside Razichai with Gill and Tim at Malik once again joined at the hip, starting side by side. Decent return out for Meraki as well. P7 for the reigning champion, very much in the ballpark too. Gridjoke Scotty Designs, I believe that's his first ever top 10 qualifying in the Creator Series, and then the Season 1 champion just rounding it out.
Absolutely stunning from Scotty there. I think we need almost a round of applause for that moment. The driver that so frequently has crashed out of qualifying and wanted to start from the back, he's turned up and proved that he can do it on a day. And if you want to put it this way, he's turned up and proved that he can do it on a cold, rainy afternoon in Northamptonshire. But this is your lineup then for the main race, which is coming your way in the next few moments. Lottie Nova will start from the front, once again proving that their food is better than ours. Taco Vince lines up alongside them on the front row with Karim 7T, Razin Chai in third and fourth. Alex Gillen, Tim and Mardik Meraki on his return starts seventh with Grid Jokes in eighth. Ninth is Scotty Designs, by the way, running the American flag. Safso in 10th with Sanderson, Fabio, Riccio 3, Concept 7, Chappers, Brandon Mars, Yoro van Heffen, Mango Slayer, Austrian Andy and Tuki in your top 20. Back to the studio. You're muted, Scott.
Yes, all right. I was daydreaming, okay? Okay, Alex, good fun, right? No, I actually really did enjoy that.
It was good.
Lolly Nova, good on him. Alex, thoughts? Help me out this situation.
Yeah, I mean, that was a fantastic poll from Lolly Nova. But yeah, as you're saying, fantastic from Scotty Designs, by the way. What? I don't have any clips, as our producer speaks on it here, unfortunately. There was nothing to clip in that. It was so well commentated by our two Toms. But yeah, it was fantastic. It was a great qualifying session, and I think that sets up so nicely for the main race.
Yeah, definitely. Good on Scotty as well, getting his top 10. Love to see that. A little bit surprised with people like Fabio. I've expected him a little bit up there, but the top is looking good, okay? We've got Lolly, we've got Raz and Gill and Ben. Okay, so Gill and Ben together again, like that's just going to get absolute chaos. So we're loading into the race right now. I'm really looking forward. I've not seen a weather update yet. I imagine we'll probably not start with the kind of wet. So, have you got something, Alex?
I know the answer to that. It's dry to start, but I heard there's a little tink of weather maybe in the middle of the race. Maybe it'll dry up before the end. Who knows? Who knows what will happen?
They're my favorite races. See, like dry, wet, dry. Like you just get a kind of a bit of everything. So hopefully we'll see something like that. Will we see some safety cars and red flags as well in a lobby with these 20 people? I imagine we're definitely going to see some of that. But yeah, I am looking at people like Scotty Designs tonight because I was quite surprised by that. Like, good on them. That's what I love to see. Unfortunate for some of our guys that were at the top of the grid in the sprint. I finished getting a little bit lower than I thought. We had like Chappers, who I've actually been really enjoying recently. I feel like he has pace. Hopefully, he just had a couple of mistakes and stuff, and he's kind of ready for it as well. We've seen quite a lot of driving now over Silverstone, Alex. Who do you think's got it? Who do you think's got us today?
I mean, I'd love to see the Ferraris pick up a win for Lolly Nova. I mean, again, you can never count out Alex Gillen, can you, down in 5th place. But the rain could spice things up, and we're going to just have to see what happens.
I love it. Let's do it. Well, guys, enjoy your race. Let us know in all of the chats who you think's going to win today. And for one last time, don't remember, hit follow, hit share, let the world know what we're doing here. Commentators, TK and Tom Wilkinson, please take it away. Have a wonderful race.
Well, as the old proverb says, the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain, which unfortunately means nothing here in the UK, where it rains just about wherever it wants to, pretty much every day of the week for 2026. But for Season 12, thankfully, no rain to start off this race, although, as we were being told, there's a little whisper in my ear happening. So we're going to see rain in about 10 minutes. Light rain, of course. We haven't got any heavy rain. No full wet tyres required by the FIA. Thankfully, no red flags as well, as that is the Alpine, I'm going to assume, of Alex Gillen or Meraki. Wandering off into the distance, they made their way through Copse Corner. Lolly Nova is still yet to eat his Terry's chocolate orange, and the producer's wife is not happy about it. Lolly Nova, if you are watching this stream, if any Lolly fans are in chat, please tell him to eat that chocolate orange. He knows what to do.
100%. Make sure we get on that. If he wins the race, surely that's the deal, right? He has to win. He has to eat the chocolate orange. So I think we can all agree on that. And you can see the sky as well. Definitely overcast conditions. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some rain early on, which makes the tyre strategy interesting. Only 5 favouring the soft tyres. Traditionally, they would overheat quite a lot, but with the cooler track conditions in particular, with rain on the horizon, could that be a smart strategic call from Razin Chai and Alex Gillen in particular? And if we just press rewind very quickly and head back to qualifying, let's not forget the top 6 were separated by less than 0.2 of a second.
Absolutely, very close qualifying. What I'm mainly curious about is why Lottie Nova hasn't tried it. Terry's chocolate oranges are fantastic, and I'm sure in classic BBC style there are other brands of chocolate orange available. Watch your board with Mango making his way through the final corner through Club, and he's decided to give us a vertical camera. Mango, please CC our emails for the end of this race as to what a horizontal camera is, but it doesn't matter, Tom, because why don't you take us away for this race?
I will do just that. Scotty, the only one falling foul of the parking regulations. But as we wait for the lights to appear, it's a battle between Silver and Scarlet on the run into turn 1. Racing for the second time this season for 52 laps of Silverstone. Great start for Kareem from P3, already putting Datkovitz under pressure. Gillen, great start on the soft tyres as well. Kareem bulked behind the Mercedes, and he's going to be under the microscope. Definitely on the braking down into turn 2. Ballon over the Italian stallion, still with it covered, but everybody misses their braking zone. Vince Bader, due off the circuit, hands over 4 places straight to the championship contenders as Razin and Alex Gillen getting stuck into each other for 3rd and 4th.
Little bit of carbon fibre flying off as they made their way through Abbey in towards Farm Curve. But look at this, Alex Gillen on the inside run, in towards Brooklands, in towards Luffield. He'll have the inside line, and I was going to say the outside line would have to tend itself, but Razin Chai unable to try and fight round the outside line that opened itself up through Brooklands corner. Now Timo Mardik right on the back of Razin Chai. Down the old pit straight they will go, and Lottie Nova's got one challenge ahead of him, and that is run.
Try and get away as best as he possibly can, but his partner from the front row has had a stinker. Ben also off the road, the back of that Red Bull car looking very shaky indeed, and suddenly Gridjoke's nipping at his heels, potentially thinking about it, but not quite getting the overlap to still 5th place away from the former 2-time champ. Vince once again losing places and making a mistake on the opening lap. I think that's 4 out of 5 races now this season that he's just not got it quite right, and he falls down to 7th.
Absolutely on board with Sapso as he's trying to challenge Datko Vince in towards Stowe Corner, the long right-hander which can tend itself to a great overtaking opportunity in towards Vale Corner and through Club as well to take you on towards the start-finish straight. Brandon Miles and Tukey having a good scrap further back as Tukey's up now for what was 4, now make that 5 positions off race starts as Lottie Nova sets the fastest lap, and Karim 17 well and truly on his heels.
Hearing that Mango is the driver that has a little bit of front wing damage. Adam Sanderson on the move down the inside into turn 1, battling away with Concept 7. Very tight indeed. Fabio for company as well. Diving down the inside goes Ricky 03, his worst qualifying of the season. Trying to make up for lost time from 13th, now 11th, but he couldn't display Scotty Designs outside of the top 10.
Certainly is indeed. Scotty Designs just trying to hold off Ricky 03 as well on the run down towards Brooklands. Can our Scotsman try and hold off the Italian that stands behind him? Some great defending, but he goes deep in towards Brooklands. That opens up Luffield, surely, for Ricky 03 to try and challenge through Woodcote as well. And on towards the old back straight. There's a bit of a stopper in the clock at the moment. And that's for Scotty Designs, 1.3 seconds off the back of Meraki at the moment. But the Italian can't quite seem to dispatch him.
On all the wrong parts of the track, but somehow playing his joker there because he holds on to 10th for the time being. Look at the train forming. Choo-choo with Lolly. Head of Kareem, Gillen, Razin and Ben. Gridjoke's not too far away, just in the back of shot as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 4 at the back opening the DRS flaps. Will Kareem 17 be close enough to challenge down into Stowe Corner? Not quite yet. Doesn't have the overspeed to challenge that Scarlet Ferrari.
Meraki's right on the rear of Sapso, though, just a 10 for separating them very close. And Gillen now sends a dive down the inside, trying to hold that position. Wants the podium from Razin Chai. Razin hunts the inside line. Through Club Corner they go, and Razin just holds on by the barest of margins. The soft tyres are fired up. He'll set the fastest lap of the race. But, of course, we are still expecting that rain to come imminently.
Kareem still all over the back of Lolly. Did he think about the dive bomb to the inside? Remember, back to Hungary for about 15 laps. These guys were knocking 10 bells out of each other. Gillen all over the show and Ben down the inside. This could get spicy with the return of Curb just a few days ago. Ben displaces his sparring partner. Couple of untidy mistakes there for Alex Gillen as the lead potentially changing hands. The gap presents itself to the outside for Kareem 17, but once again, as we've seen a number of times this season, Lolanova staunch in his defence, but Gillen with a wobble through Stowe on the previous lap opened the door for Razin, and then Ben, when he smells blood, he goes 100% at it.
He absolutely does. He's one of those drivers that the moment you give him an ounce of unconfidence, the ounce of that an overtake could happen, Ben is that driver to pounce on it. You can start to see that rain falling down the camera lens when we rode on board with Alex Gillen. Is that a suggestion here, Tom, that we're starting to see those little snippets of rain, not necessarily enough for intermediates yet, and probably won't be for another 5 or so minutes, but an inclination that it is raining?
They'll be thinking about it now, 100%. And it didn't look like a very small drop either. That was a big splodge on the camera lens there. And we saw another one just falling down as we went down the hanger straight. On board with Gillen. This time it's Ben's turn to go wide through Stone. Maybe Alex can try and retake that 4th place back into the Veld chicane, but wasn't quite close enough to challenge. It looks like the conditions, with the temperature being low as well, track conditions deteriorating very quickly. Kareem, what a catch that is through the final corner.
Mastery at work for Karim there, just holding the car in a straight line. It was so easy just to drop it. We are seeing Yorit already into pit road, so opting to get off a set of the medium tyres, which is a very bold decision so early on in this race, after only 3 laps, but maybe he decides that the rain is going to come in this heavy.
100%. Ben struggling for grip as well on the medium tyres. This should be favouring Razin and Alex Gillen at this stage, with the soft tyres firing up slightly better. Front wing change for Yorit as well, along with the green stripe intermediate tyre, so he will be the guinea pig for everybody to see what sector times the Haas can punch in.
This will be the, well, as you said, the guinea pig for everybody else. They will be watching his lap times like a hawk just to see how he's progressing on a set of the intermediate tyres. I don't think it's quite ready for that switch over yet. Probably a couple of more minutes if the rain continues at its current rate of descent in towards Copse Corner. They'll go very, very wide for Razin Chai and Alex Tima Marduk. Both of their cars opting to not grip onto the surface, not bite into the bitumen as much as they would have liked, and they are going to have to suffer the consequences because Gillen made that corner perfectly.
Yeah, Ben all over the place here. Back of the car looking very, very dangerous. There, he's dropped it coming out of Chapel. Tapped the barrier, still got all 4 wheels on his wagon, but that is a big, big blunder for one of the perennial contenders to this championship throne. Tierman Marduk, 1.5 seconds now off the back of Korean. The rain coming down heavily. Surely we're going to see drivers making their way into the pits, and yes, we do.
A whole parade of cars in towards pit road. I think Tukey also dropped it as he exited out of Chapel Corner. You can see that McLaren car just stationary. But the question is now, how much time is Yorik going to gain? Of course, he changed his front wing to take that with a bit of a pinch of salt. Chappers speeding into pit road as well. That is a 10-second penalty coming the Williams way. Is anybody going to double stack? I think the V-Cubs might have to here, as Mango also gets a 10-second penalty for speeding the pit lane. Last time around, he didn't know what a brake bias was. Maybe he needs to learn what his pit limiter is.
Look at that sucker punch, though, for Razin. Needs a wing change, and he has to queue behind his teammate as well. Kareem 17, though, look at that. He's got the jump on Lon and over in the pit lane. Tierman Marduk still ahead of Alex Gillen. Grid jokes up to P5, but that has changed the complexion dramatically. Kareem, he couldn't get past Lolly on the road in Hungary. This time he decides, let's do it in the pit lane.
Absolutely. Keep an eye on Yorit. He's heading through the final corner, through Vale and through Club as well. So he'll probably jump a couple of the cars here, even with that wing change and riding through the final corner. He'll have the run down towards turn 1 and down towards the loop as well. So keep an eye and see if he's managed to jump it on. Razin stays ahead, so he hasn't had the best of outlaps so far, has our Yorit, but he will jump at least 1 position. Beats Chappers as well. Adam Sanderson gets the better of Scotty. Designs as Ricky as well, having a good battle with him. And that's Scotty off the road as they head at the exit of Aintree down towards Brooklands and Luffield. Just getting it all kinds of wrong in the treacherous conditions.
Very lucky not to Kimi Räikkönen it from 2014. That's Razin trying to make up for lost time, darting to the inside. Tukey's going to be scared off the road into a mistake, and that's a freebie for the Season 5 champion. I think he just taps the back of Mango in front. Concept all over the place, wide through Luffield. Surely that isn't more damage for Razin Chai. Looking for the front wing. I think he may have got away scot-free.
By the barest of margins, I think that time he would have been kicking himself if something happened further back. Concepts in the wall. Oh my goodness, that's all sorts of wrong. And that's a safety car coming out, but he just seemed to get on the power far too early as he came through Woodcut Corner and into the barrier. He well and truly goes.
I'll be fascinated to see the clip of that one, because that was an interesting place to lose if that's what did happen. Looked like almost a steering fail, like a Fernando Alonso 2015 testing when the steering just locked and he just threw himself straight into the barrier on the right-hand side. That neutralises things. Mango with a 10-second, Chappers with a 10-second as well. Yorik was very, very lucky as he was trying to dodge bits of carbon fibre and wheels that were being thrown at 150 mile an hour.
I have got no words to describe what quite happened there, but this is going to benefit Yorik quite immensely, just allow him to catch back up with the rest of the pack and progress through as well. But Grim 17 will lead after the 6 laps of this 52-lap Grand Prix. I'm being told the Rain is here to stay for at least a little bit too long as they progress through in towards farm and through village as well and up towards the Wellington Straight. The safety car will catch them at the beginning of said Wellington Straight. Who's into the pits then? Let's have a look. Mango, Tukey and Chappers F1. All three of those opting, I'm going to assume, for front wing changes all round.
100%. And 10-second penalties to get rid of for the Haas. And the Williams also, Tukey must have had a little bit of damage in there. We saw him going wide, almost spooked off the circuit going through Brooklands as Razin was sticking his nose down the inside of the McLaren. But it gives Kareem 17 an opportunity to try and consolidate the lead of the race. Yes, he'll have to reopen that gap that he did get to about a second ahead of Lon and Ober as Ben and Alex trading places under the safety car. You can imagine what the conversation is going to be like there between the pair of them. Really good work from Grid Jokes as well. Got himself into the top 5. Jake didn't have the best of starts, dropping a couple of places. Stabilised in P8 ahead of Fabio and Adam Sanderson, who has had a good start. Scotty Designs has been a little bit all over the place, hasn't he, since the rain started to fall?
You're absolutely right. I wonder if that was... we just had a notification of DRS been stable. There's a whole gaggle of things going on here, and this surely is led from Tim Bardic and Alex Gillen going blow to blow as well as they continue on. I did have a word in my head. I didn't quite hear what the producer was saying. If he wants to speak up a little bit, that would be very much appreciated. It's nothing useful, is what he's basically just told me in my ear. And we continue through under the safety car as well, but we will have that clip from Alex in the next few moments just to try and analyse and figure out what exactly went wrong with the 7th concept. Maybe it's time for the 8th here, Tom.
Maybe the 9th. It was that much of a blunder and that much of a failure. We might need to skip a concept and level up to the tune of 2.
Well, who knows? Concept 9 we might see in the next few moments. I am being told that Alex is ready, though. If we're ready, let's, 1 second, and then we'll throw over to him in the briefest of times. Just hold fire, everybody, as we can be patient. But let's talk about the race as it stands so far. Who's impressed you, Tom?
Difficult to say. Kareem didn't have a particularly good opening lap. He got off the grid nicely, but then found himself under pressure. But since then, I think he's done a good job. I think Gillen surprised me with the mistake he made. It's a very easy one to do, just breaking a little bit too late into Snow Corner. It was a little bit wet as well, so that can just mitigate the problem ever so slightly. But handing a couple of places on a plate to Ben and to Razin, he doesn't really want to be battering Ben too much. We know the history that they've got over the years.
I'm just watching Gillen here send his nose down the inside of Ben, and there's a little bit of competitive spirit between the two of them, but we're ready to find out exactly what happened to Concept 7. Alex, what do you got for us?
Well, it was certainly a strange one coming down the old pit straight, but we can run on board here. You can see probably the first major issue here is those are not intermediate tyres he's running. He's still running the medium tyres. And he lets a few cars pass here, and he's sort of getting through the list of cars. And then he sort of just like starts moving over to the right-hand side and then just puts it in the wall. I'm guessing maybe he crashed on purpose because he didn't know what he was doing. But it seems like a very strange thing indeed, incident-wise. And the only other clip I have for us is not myself. That's not a good clip to watch. This is the Razin Shine incident, which I think you caught on stream. And he's just coming through here. It's just getting a bit too damp for dry tyres now. And he just has a little bit of spin and crashes it, unfortunately, on the left-hand side. So yeah, that was the 2 clips I have for you. But very strange one from Concept 7.
I think what's quite funny there is if you watch Razin's face, he's very, very calm. And the moment the car goes to step out, you just see this serious expression just take over him. He's like, oh no, he knows exactly what's about to happen. He's very thankful that I don't think he managed to crash out of the race. And questioning here, Tom, obviously everyone else was on intermediate tyres. Why was Concept on mediums?
I don't know, and I can't answer that because I don't think he was tucked up behind his teammate and thought, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to stay out and I can try and steal 25 seconds over people. If you remember back to, say, the 2024 British Grand Prix, Oscar Piastri tried that and he lost about 25 seconds and cost McLaren a win in that race. So I don't know necessarily what the strategy was there. Also, why he threw in the towel is what I'm imagining that was with the hit into the barrier there. Just want to go back to Razin as well because I'm actually surprised he didn't save that. He reacted to the slide and the oversteer quite late. It was quite a delayed reaction. He kept the wheel straight for quite a while. So maybe that was a little bit more salvageable than it looked.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It was one of these interesting issues where I think he was always too confident, not confident in the car, too relaxed in the car. And he was trying to drive through a series of corners that he knows so well. Of course, he's British. He knows how the car handles, and he got just too confident. We're about to see Alex Gibbons and another move down the inside of Tim and Mardick. But I think that's it. He got complacent in the car and didn't necessarily how he goes. Being told Ricky 3 now has a haircut to match his ankle tag, and I don't need to know any more information about that because I don't have a clue what Gareth's referring to.
I mean, I imagine his trim might be an interesting little one. We know that Ricky's famous for that haircut that he usually has, so that he might have gone for a brand new style. Who knows? I don't know if he's in the picture-in-picture cameras, but somebody might have to do some research. That's the kind of content we want in Clipbook Corner, everybody.
It is. Alex, if he's not on the pit cameras, we might have to send you a lucky... Oh, that is
no, Ricky, you can't
stunning.
hide it now.
Everyone here, go to Ricky's chat and ask him to take his hat off for us, please and thank you. And remember your please and thank yous, we're British, most of us in the comments box are British anyway. So please and thank yous are appreciated. I've got so many questions though.
I am also surprised he hasn't been driven. He hasn't driven so far like he's playing Angry Birds. No contact so far, but we'll just hold that thought. If he does cause a cataclysmic pilot, then we'll know where he's taken it from.
I love that everyone in chat from content community is not realising that if he wants to throw it into a barrier and cause a safety car, he absolutely can. And speaking of safety cars, we're going to go racing everybody at the start of lap 9.
Yeah, indeed. It'll be Kareem backing everybody up. I'm surprised Ricky hasn't got too hot there with the interesting balaclava and helmet strategy that he's running. But we'll see when Kareem chooses to plant the loud pedal down and try and steal a march on his rivals behind. Alex Gillen, you'll be thinking as well, we'll want to try and put some manners on Tiamat Marduk after Ben, if you missed the first episode of COP, managed to win that opening race.
Certainly did. Spoilers, apologies everybody that hasn't managed to watch that yet. But Lottie Nova will be on the charge for Karim 17. I think he'll try and launch this as late as he possibly can. Being told the rain is due to stop before race end, but it won't be too far from race end. Green flag flies, and that's Mango diving into the pits nice and early. That's an interesting strategy.
I mean, if he wants to put on the dry tyres, be my guess. That's an interesting one. Maybe he just wants to get up into the lead for the first time. He's going to drop down now as Kareem from Lolly, from Ben from Gillen and Grid Jokes, your top 5. Back under green flag running already. Kareem with a decent march there on Lollen over behind, who's closer to Tiamat Marduk. Well, he was closer to Tiamat Marduk than he was to the Red Bull or the Aston Martin in front, but a little bit of a wobble there for Kareem through turn 2 of Farm, putting the Ferrari right back underneath his rear wing.
Only a little bit of a wobble, not much battling going on between 3rd and 6th at the moment. Alex Gillen just, wanting to pressure Tiamat Marduk as much as he can, but not necessarily causing too much trouble. Austrian Andy gets the better of Joran van Heffen for 15th place further afield, and everybody just, again, finding their feet with the wet weather conditions, refinding their braking points, and that was that guy Vince being very brave on the brakes in towards Brooklands.
We know his pace in qualifying was strong. Can he convert it into race pace after that poor opening lap? Alex Gillen as well. How much translatable skills and speed will there be from the sprint into these conditions that are almost the exact equivalent as Cream almost getting rolling over outside of a second there. Over the curb, through Cops we go with Tiamat Marduk. The back of the car looking a little bit unstable as you would imagine in these conditions over the curb. It's actually Gillen slightly under pressure here.
It is. It's a weird situation to see. Of course, Grid Jokes has found an almighty bit of pace under the wet weather conditions. Obviously, we spoke to Alex, or Scott spoke to Alex, a few moments ago when he won the sprint race, and he said that he's going to run his dry setup. So I wonder if that might be what's causing the issue here. Of course, when we go back to dry conditions, we are expecting this rain to stop at some point. He'll become that almost dominant force once again, but he's just got to manage the car under the wet weather.
What we do know about Kareem 7T as well is in these conditions he is very strong. He's aggressive driving style. He likes to really try and hustle the car around. He's going to be strong, you'd imagine. Tukey tentative behind Brandon Miles. Didn't fancy it down the inside into the Val chicane. The door was left wide open by the Sauber, who's struggling for rotation and traction. Are we going to try it up the inside into the final corner? Little bit tentative there. Really tricky traction. And got to avoid the mountainous sausage curve of the apex as well. Still eyeball to eyeball. Who backs down? Brandon Miles doesn't back down, but he almost falls off the circuit. He almost has a hat slamming into the back of him as well.
Absolutely does. Joran van Heffen still trying to get the better of Brandon Miles down the inside. He looks at the opening corner of Farm. The first proper braking zone on this circuit, of course. We can't quite get the better of him at the moment. Brandon Miles holding on by the barest of margins. He's got Chappers for company. He's got Austrian Andy for company as well. Down in 17th and 18th place, respectively. On the run down the Wellington straight towards Brooklands, towards Luffield corner. Looking towards the inside as Chappers has the inside line in towards Brooklands corner. Tries to get the car slowed down. Joran looks for a switchback, but I don't think he necessarily had the opening fourth. But Chappers reopens the door through Luffield. Joran tries to send the car down the inside. It's just about alongside through Woodker. Down the old pit straight they will run side by side. Who's going to be braver? On the brakes in towards Cops corner. Side by side they run, proving that even in the wet you can do it. Both of the cars running wide. Chappers has to run off the circuit and just holds on to position.
Rain looks like he's got significantly heavier. Look at the glare on the circuit, the gloss and the spray coming up as well. Could we be getting closer to full wet weather tyres? We know they're not very popular, not just in real life, but on the game as well. But could be a viable strategy for drivers that are struggling. And it definitely looks significantly wetter now.
It's a bit of a washout, I think is probably the way to look at it at the moment. It's certainly heavy rain. If I don't know if Scott was with us at Silverstone this year, or no, last year, 2025, it was very much like this weather for parts of it.
It was indeed. Well, it was monsoonal for some parts of that, as Jorik van Gep is still getting stuck in with Chaps and Brandon Miles. I think the Haas is diving into the pit lane. Could this be for the blue-walled wet weather tyres?
We'll wait and see, either that or damage repair, surely. Because I know out there as well, there's a photo of me in a very soaked McLaren hoodie. Because I stupidly forgot to bring a coat with me. I know Dan Gilligan's got it somewhere in his photo archive. Let's see what tyres going on. We are seeing the full wet tyres being applied.
Doesn't fancy the Inters. Obviously, it's a harder compound to drive in the full wet weather running, but with the wets being a softer compound, they can overheat slightly more, which is why they're not a very versatile tyre for drivers to use in conditions like these. Cream 17, by the way, absolutely flying out in front. If you remember back to a race at Monaco on F1 24, in the wet, he was seconds a lap quicker than his competitors behind. He's not quite at that level at the moment, but he looks very comfortable out in front.
Absolutely is. Dan's just put a threat in the Discord. In the Twitch chat, as we watch here with Brandon Miles getting the better of Chapper, trying to go side by side at the exit of Luffield and Brooklands on towards the old pit straight, still side by side. I think Chappers is loving going side by side with cars through the final section of corners on towards that old pit straight, gets the better of Miles. He didn't want to try and challenge it side by side through Cops Corner, but once again, Chapper's going wide at the exit of that corner. But just going back to what I was saying, Dan has just said, join the Discord for a soggy TK photo. That is a sentence that I never wanted to read.
Join in for other purposes as well. Find out about some updates, chat with other people in the community, in the fan zone as well, and some of the creators also. You can get involved.
Absolutely. And who knows, from time to time, sometimes the creators end up playing Fortnite in the VCs that everyone can access. So I can't say when, but sometimes it does happen. If you want to come join into the antics that happen in those late night sessions, come join us as we watch Ricciardo 3, how to try and defend from Fabio through the final corner, the Italian stallion holding firm in the Scuderia Ferrari.
Very good job. Got to be careful, though, because lurking and lingering is Adam Sanderson, also razzing Chires. Fabio wide through turn one. Does that open the door as he's grappling for grip on his intermediate tyres? Adam Sanderson doesn't quite have the overlap, doesn't quite have the confidence under braking to steal 10th place away from Fabio, who's all over the place a little bit here. And suddenly, the confidence and the pendulum swaying the way of Sanderson, with Razin Chai also nipping at the heels of the trio in front as well.
Certainly are. There's good battles going all up and down this grid. Look at the back of that guy Vince. He's got Meraki for company, trying to attack Safso as well for PT6. So everybody is kind of engrossed with their own little battles they've got going on. Just to keep you updated with how Jorik's progressing, of course, just came across the line to finish what will be their first lap on a full wet set of tyres. We'll wait for the proper lap where he's not stuck in the pits for half of the time. Watch with Adam Sanderson having to defend from Razin Chai as well. We know that Razin is very eager on the throttle today. He's proved that once already. In towards Cops Corner they run. And with the blinding nature of the spray that is providing, they'll make their way through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel Corner. Sanderson with a lifeline at the moment.
Done a good job to hold on to it then, because Razin, you would imagine, is going to be driving with a little bit of aggression, a little bit punchy as well to make up for the blunder and the mistake earlier on. Fabio, if you haven't seen, he broke his brake spring a few days ago. He was trying to use it as a trampoline, some might say.
I thought it was the throttle spring he broke.
Well, either or is not exactly ideal.
I would not recommend using sim racing pedals as a trampoline. We'll leave it at that.
No. They might be springy, but not entirely stable when you're doing like that. Even though you do have to put a lot of load on them, of course, especially when you're trying to slow down in these conditions, because the wet brakes are going to be just making life a little bit harder to slam those anchors on.
You've got to slam the anchor on, but you've got to be precise, because the last thing you want to do is lock up in these conditions, because aquaplaning and locking up do not add up well together. We watched that guy Vince getting the better of Safso, I think, who had a bit of a mishap under braking, little bit of contact between the two of them, and Safso just trying to turn in and defend the position as much as he possibly can. Does so rather successfully, and Vince will have to hold on to 7th for now.
Yeah, surprised that he didn't make that move stick there, Vince, because it was almost like the white flag had been thrown there from Safso with the Mercedes down the inside. But as we are, he's still the Season 1 champion, holding off the front row starter. That looked a little bit unstable, a little bit wide through Brooklands. He's got to be careful because the reigning champion is very much in the ballpark as well. Jake just struggling to make progress at this stage. Definitely got the pace to be fighting to finish inside the top three. Bogged down in a little bit of traffic at this stage, though.
little bit of a snap as well for Meraki as they came through Brooklyn's corner, and it was just an interesting one to see how they're handling the car through Copse as well. Everyone just washing out wide. They're hoping and praying for as much downforce as these cars will possibly provide them. But as it stands, they are hoping, well, their prayers are remaining unanswered.
And Razin once again applying the blowtorch to Sanderson, who's dropped outside of 1 second, 1.1 seconds off the back of Infratic, who, along with Riccio 3, has caught up to this little train forming behind the Season 1 champion. Gridjoke's in front of them 4 seconds further up the road, doing a really strong job once again. Very consistent lap times as they're just out of shot, you can see, into Stowe corner. That is Razin round the outside. Sanderson going to try and keep his foot in it to the inside of Stowe. He's on the high road into the Vale chicane, but braver under brakes is the Season 5 champion, and he does dislodge Adam Sanderson out of 11th place. And you can see the rain once again still getting heavier and heavier, but Jorik van Geffen's lap times not competitive at all.
Something I had noticed when we were on board with Adam Sanderson just down towards Vale Corner, the lack of battery that he's got in that Red Bull racing car. He was right on the minimums as he was trying to fight Razin. He's gained a little bit back now. It's that yellow bar just below the green, as you can see on the steering wheel, and he's regaining a little bit, but he was low. He was on like minimums when he was trying to fight Razin.
Shows how much battery he's using, because normally in these conditions, because you're not on the accelerator, the throttle for as much, you're braking for a little bit longer as well. You'll be recharging and harvesting energy and refilling that battery, I should say, just that little bit faster. So surprised that he's being so abusive with the charge that he's got. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. Or we can throw a blanket over them going through Luffield corner. Safso very much under the microscope, but Vince, he needs to try and get his skates on here, because you would expect either Jake or maybe the Ferrari and McLaren of Ricky and Infratic will try and blunder their way through this train, almost break the back of it to make some progress.
Certainly, I think there's lots of opportunities for drivers, lots of opportunities for things to go wrong here. Of course, we're still expecting this rain to go on for roughly 20-25 minutes in its entirety, so don't count out any drivers yet, because first, to get to the end, they've got to survive this wet weather period. Of course, when it gets back to dry conditions, then we'll see the likes of those drivers that are running the dry setups to come into their prime. We're seeing people in the chat talking about Lolly Noba, Alex Gillen, those drivers that are confirmed to be running that dry setup, and how much the balance, I think, necessarily will change as we get into those dry conditions later on.
Maybe Cream has compromised slightly, going for that slightly wetter setup to give him some advantages in these conditions, because that gap now over 3 seconds. Fastest man out on the circuit at the moment, even though he's only a 10th quicker than Lolanova on the previous lap, as Razin and Adam Sanderson now join this queue behind Saf. So you can see really struggling for grip, but Vince is balked there, and Meraki's going to say thank you very much to the inside of turn 2, the outside of turn 3. It'll be as Vince tries to fight it under braking, and it's J-Cat onto the water out on the outside. And he's now going to defend from the Ferrari and Ricky.
See that dry line, it's really starting to form here at the moment as they make their way through the circuits all the way up towards Brooklands and Luffield corner as well. It's all the way through that opening sector, just because of how many cars are going across the same section of tarmac, and they continue their way through. And even through here, you can see that bolder, darker line, and that's Infratic just swiping out slightly wide of it at the exit of Brooklands corner. Dakar Vince has scored 8 points in the race every week. Oh, he scored 8 points in the main race every week but one, where he scored 18 points. 8 must be his lucky number. That was a really difficult one to read.
8's not quite the magic number, though, because there's 7 drivers that have scored points in every single race. And can you guess who they are? It's an interesting one. One of them is slightly surprising. It's Adam Sanderson, who's one of them in this train. The other one that is interesting is Matt 212. He's obviously absent this week.
Yeah, I believe taking part in the 12 hours of Bathurst, if memory serves me correctly. I don't know why you'd want to give up driving Silverstone to drive Bathurst. Beats me.
Especially after the horrible accident that we saw at the weekend that was not particularly pleasant viewing.
No, and I think a lot of questions will be raised as a result of that. If you haven't watched it and you've got maybe a strong stomach at the moment, go watch it. Shows the safety of motorsport, if nothing else. Shows the safety of motorsport. Through the final corner then, Dakar Vince trying to still get the better of Safso as we enter on towards lap 16. This train all the way from Safso down to, I believe, Adam Sanderson. So we've got 6, make it 7 cars in this train at the moment, all wanting to get to the same place.
Wonder if Cream's advantage is maybe just cooled a little bit as well. On the previous lap, for the first time since the safety car came in, he was slower than Lolanova to the tune of 0.2 per second. They were matching each other in the previous laps beforehand. So is it a case of maybe the other drivers have got a handle on these conditions, or is Cream just flatlining ever so slightly?
But Corners just pipes up in our little commentary chat. He's gone, information for you, it's raining. Thanks, Alex. Had not noticed, I'll be honest, as we make our way through in towards the final pit, or the old pit straight.
Yeah, cheers, Jeff, for that one. That's a very, very insightful piece of information. I actually forgot my umbrella, and I didn't notice that I saw the rain falling from the skies as the drivers are bolted on those intermediates. Like you said a few moments ago, we're expecting the rain to stop in around about 20 minutes' time, so it should go dry come the end of our British Grand Prix, which means we should probably have a sprint to the flag, you would imagine, with everybody converging on each other.
That would be the expectation and maybe the hope as well, and we will hear from both Alex and Scott later on in the broadcast. We'll bring them in for their thoughts, comments, maybe some concerns as well. Who knows what is going to happen? Of course, we've only had one DNF so far throughout the course of this race. I expect maybe at least a couple more. Wet Silverstone normally does not leave 19 cars running on this grid. As Daco Vince now tries to get the better of Safso. We're starting to see the moves being made. Little tap between the two of them sends Safso at an acute angle towards the main track surface. Meraki sneaks on through, and that is a great move from our reigning champion.
Did really well there, not just to get the position, but not chip off part of his front wing, with Safso going slowly at the apex there. The battle, I don't think, is quite finished. Safso off the road again, flying around the outside goes Ricky. Fabio wide as well. I saw some McLaren bodywork just fly across, so I think he's picked up some front wing damage, and we have a virtual safety car for something that's gone on. Fabio with a 10-second penalty. That is going to be a bit of a kick in the solar plexus. It's now Vince from Meraki, from Ricky, Safso and Razin, who's ahead of Adam Sanderson and ahead of Fabio, who definitely had some contact around there somewhere.
Here we go then. Everyone has to reduce their speeds down to a set delta, and there is an opportunity, a new ruling in effect within the Create Series. I'm sure I'm allowed to share this. Gareth, tell me if we're not. Lovely, we are. If there is a virtual safety car and one of the drivers deems that they do not want to deal with a virtual safety car, they are allowed to stop on track. And there we go. Full safety car has been called out. You can see Bert Marlander's little icon at the exit of pit road, and exactly what we expected to happen. Drivers unhappy with the virtual safety car, so they've decided to upgrade it to a full.
Something that we should talk about as well is with the process of upgrading, when it goes from a virtual to a full course caution, does that still count as just 2 safety car periods, or is that now technically 3? Because that could be important if we use up all of our safety cars.
I believe it just counts as a singular... Oh, it might count as 2. It counts twice for 2 different periods of the safety car. So we are, as you said, we've used over half the safety car periods allowable, which actually, I think in the grand scheme of things, we'll take a look at the big picture metaphorically. It's a good thing. It means less overall safety cars, and look at the games that were being played there by Karim and I believe Lottie Nova. They both pretended to drive into the pits. Alex Gillen did dive into the pits at the final time of asking. There was a lot of mind games going on there.
Yeah, Karim was parking the bus, backing it up into the far chicane, trying to see if anybody wanted to bite the bullet. Lolly staying out. Ben almost dropped it in his attempts to sell the dummy and stay out, but it is Gillen that does jump in for a brand new set of intermediate tyres. They're not that old, the drivers in front, 13 laps, but with the weather as it is, those rear tyres in particular will be a little bit worse for wear. Fascinating to see if Gillen can get himself ahead of the big train of cars. Safso's in, Fabio in, unsurprisingly as well. If Gillen does emerge in P5, he's going to be absolutely loving life. Unfortunately, I think he's going to be in the middle, if not at the back of that group.
It's heartbreaking there, yeah. He's going to come out of the bag. Oh, massive snap as well on that Alpine. I wonder if he's just managed to pip out Sanderson, not by the look of it. But the question, or the answer that he'll probably be looking for there, is if they have to follow a delta for primarily their first lap. The second they cross that line, they're just given the instruction, catch safety car, essentially, is what they're given to the drivers. And that is where the opportunity for those 5 or 6 drivers to put their foot down and beat Gillen out the pits. If it was always a delta they had to stay to, I'm sure Gillen would have made it out ahead, but it was just that moment of relief that he would have liked to see. We're going to throw it over to Clipbook Corner, who once again has told us it's raining.
It certainly is. It's still raining cats and dogs over here, but we're going to ride on board with Razin here, and this is what is caused not Razin, Infratic. I got that completely wrong. Yeah, on board with Infratic here. This is what's caused the safety cars. We're going into turn 1 here. There's a big old clump of cars, and Safso obviously goes off in front, and then he comes back on a little bit aggressively, and as you can see by Infratic's face here, he's not overly happy and does get a 10-second penalty, which I think is very harsh because it wasn't him who caused the incident. He lost his front wing, and then the 10-second penalty came out, and then the VSC came out, which obviously is now a full safety car. But yeah, not good from Infratic, but I'm sure he'll recover now with that safety car up.
Well, fingers crossed that he does. Let us know in the live chat as well who you're supporting, who you're rooting for, who you think might have done an optimal strategy here this afternoon? We want to hear from you right about now. We're approaching half race distance, Tom. About 25%, 25 laps will be about halfway, 26 if you're being pedantic. Who's impressed you in the first half so far?
Kareem's looked really comfortable out in front, bulletproof one might say. I think Grid Jokes has been solid as a rock as well in P4. I'm interested to see the progress of Gillen as well on the brand new tyres. We can see, and we have seen in the past, that brand new intermediate tyres, there is a significant time delta you can gain. It'll just be a question of how quickly he can make his way through the traffic, and by the time he gets back up to the leaders, which I imagine he will do, how much tyre life in advantage and how much tyre delta will he still have over those guys?
I think that's going to be the question that we'll all see here, isn't it? How much benefit is Gillen going to see from those fresher intermediate tyres? Yes, he could probably go a little bit longer. He's not going to have to worry about getting into puncture territory, especially if we're going to see this rain for another maybe 10, 15 minutes or so. There's still the opportunity that drivers will be able to take them to the end, but who knows? I think it's still in the hands of the racing gods, so to speak.
100%. Looking at other people that came in, obviously Safso into the pits as well, now down in P16. He was really struggling, wasn't he? Really grappling for grip, and you can see absolutely bucketing it down as we go through Luffield. Nobody fancying the full wet tyre, as Jorik demonstrated. It is not a very good compound. He was still about 4 seconds off the pace while running what was, according to the game at least, the ideal compound.
Apparently, Aston Martin have been running the Honda engine in Scotty's car this season too, or at least that's what he's been trying to say. Maybe they put the proper upgrades in him for this weekend, because at the moment he's running P10, which is an absolutely fantastic run for Scotty. He's only lost 2 positions in the race so far over 19 laps. One thing I did want to bring your attention to just very quickly, you've got Concept 7 in the chat saying concept strategy was good. I'll tell you what, if there was a competition for hitting a barrier, you'd score a 10, sir.
Did a very good job. I would have given it a 10 as well. Finished with a flourish, and that's the best way that we can always put it down to. We had a really nice scramble into the pits as well, and we should have a scramble to find the grip under green flag running, because the safety car is going to be in this lap. But crucially, Jorik definitely ain't going to be catching up, and Fabio might be a bit touch and go as well for him.
Depends how much Karim wants to slow this pack down. Well, answers the question of whether Fabio's going to be able to catch up with this pack. You can see him barreling down that straight, down the hanger straight towards Stowe in the final few corners. Karim is taking this restart at a crawl, and that is going to allow Fabio to rejoin the back of the pack and overtake Safso, which I'm not necessarily sure what's gone on in the back there, but Safso has allowed Fabio past, maybe as a bit of a thank you in terms of this is really slow, isn't it, from Karim?
Yeah, 2026 Aston Martin POV for you there. I think there are rules in place that tell you can't go quite this slowly under safety car conditions, so there might be a reprimand coming for Kareem 70. There's a penalty for Tukey. That's the problem when you do go this slow. And I think Kareem might be getting a slap on the wrist with this one. You can see why he's doing it, trying to allow everybody to catch up, but it has caused a few issues in there.
I'd argue that he was trying to allow everyone to catch up if Jorik caught the pack, but he then launches at the end of the final corner, so he hasn't actually achieved that target at all. That almost certainly will be referred to the Creator Series management or stewards or whatever they want to call themselves. But Karim, for the time being, leads this race. Lolly no, but will stand in second. Team Mardik will almost be frustrated at that race up. They'll have wanted to get on with it at this point.
100%. And Jorik's not too far back either. He's still 2.5 seconds away. With the convergence on the opening lap, a green flag running, you'd expect he'll probably be in and around the right kind of ballpark. As Safso has dropped down to P18. He definitely got caught up in some of the skirmishes as we were waiting for Kareem to hit the loud pedal. Symbolic of, I think, Jenson Button back in China 2010 when he absolutely slammed the ankles and we had cars going wide all over the place, diving to the inside. I believe that's Razin Chai trying to steal a march on Ricky 03. Does he pick the pocket of his former Ferrari car? Yes, he does. A little bit squirrely on exit for Ricky as well. He has to concede defeat on that occasion.
He gets the better of Brandon Mars as well, further back, 13th and 14th respectively on the circuit. I've been pulling up the rulebook. I've got it out of the library here, Tom. I've got the information that we require. During safety car restarts, you must maintain an average speed no lower than 70 kilometers an hour, roughly 43 miles an hour, and you must avoid speeding up and slowing down. That is almost certainly going to be slower than 43 miles an hour.
Yeah, the pace was consistent. It was just very, very slow indeed, which is where the discrepancy lies and where I think he might be getting into a little bit of trouble. Not a great restart for Scotty there in P11, nearly 2 seconds off the back of the lead pack. Gillen yet to make any progress either, still tucked up underneath the rear wing of Adam Sanderson, looking to continue history of scoring every single race so far this season.
Absolutely, some fantastic results so far, and we've always said here in the Great Series, consistency is key, and it's not necessarily about winning every single race or winning the race. It's always about scoring good points week in, week out, and that's quite possibly how all the champions have won their respective championships. It's not by just going out there and winning. It's about when you don't have the best races, scoring consistent points.
That is the template of Team Mark and Maracas getting stuck in here. Chapper's trying to take 11th place off the hand of Scotty. Outside of 3 comes the inside of turn 4, and on the wetter part of the circuit, on the inside off the drying line, somehow Chapper's managed to find the traction and the grip. The Scotty there, lazy track limits going over the white lines through Aintree Corner, so he loses 1 place and picks up a 3-second penalty. Might be another one as well to add insult to injury as Tukey shows the nose to the inside. A little bit bumpy there over the sausage curbs. He's going to have to deal with his papaya sparring partner.
Well, Fabio, of course, given the graces by Karim 17, allowed to catch back up to the pack at the moment as they run on towards the old pit straight. Fabio almost certainly be looking for the quickest line possible to get past not only his teammate, but Scotty Designs as well. Off goes wide Adam Sanderson. That could open up the invitation for Alex Gillen in towards Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel Corner. The Alpine right on the rear gearbox of that Red Bull racing car. Gillen looks very confident in these wet conditions, albeit if he's running a dry setup, and he could try and pick the pocket of Anders Sanderson in front.
Problem is, if he's wanting to try and use these tyres as early as he possibly can, use the best of them in these early stages, get back up to the leaders, and so far he hasn't been able to do it. We know the dirty air is a problem around this circuit, difficult to overtake in the wet as well. Good drive coming out of Stowe. Adam Sanderson hovering in the middle of the circuit, and Gillen, tentative, doesn't really think about it to the inside or the outside. Happy once again to just sit and watch and wait behind the teammate of Tim at Marvin.
Being told Karim's already trying to act defensive, and I think it will be a slam dunk penalty coming his way. There's no need for any further discussion on the topic at the moment, and Alex Gillen runs through towards Loop, or in towards the village and in towards Loop. It is interesting to see how they progress through. He is sat in P10 at the moment here, Tom. Of course, qualified up in 5th. Will be looking for that move past Sanderson as quick as he possibly can as the whole gaggle of cars make their way through this first sector.
Yeah, and the thing that he might be concerned about is when we do get back to dry running, which doesn't look too far away, definitely the rain has subsided to a certain point. If he's lower than P4, then effectively that's a net loss for himself, going for that pit stop under the safety car, hanging in the back of the car as he tries to crank on the steering to give himself an opportunity, an overlap perhaps, get a foothold in this battle between himself and Sanderson. But again, just struggling for rear grip, that dry setup, maybe just coming to the fruition, but Sanderson's still able to hold on.
Absolutely right. Watching on the rear point of view from Sanderson's car, you can see further behind, and Frassic gets the better of Tukey. Now manages to dispatch his teammate. He'll have Scotty Designs for company next time around as they head in towards Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel Corner. And Nick Frassic, of course, pitting, serving that 10-second penalty, and I believe getting that front wing replaced, which looks to be intact now for the Papaya McLaren on the run up towards Stowe Corner, has the opportunity to try and dispatch Scotty at his earliest opportunity.
He saw as well, Gillen was very wide behind Adam Sanderson through Copse Corner, and that has meant that he can't really have a run at Adam into Stowe Corner as he did on the previous lap. So 1 step forward, 2 steps back at the moment for the former 2-time champion. Karim's still leading the way, but he doesn't have the pace that he had before the safety car came out. Managed to get that gap over 3 seconds. Now Lorinoba sticking like glue to the back of the Aston Martin, with Tiamat Martin clinging onto the coattails of the leading duo as well.
Certainly is. Lorinoba not letting Karim go as much as he wants to. He'll still have Tim Muddick for company, but you can see the gap back to 4th place, crossing over that 1.5 second margin at the moment as they continue to fight on. Fabio right on the rear of Scotty Designs at the moment. He hasn't been so confident in wet weather condition at the moment. We saw him qualifying when it goes dry. He seems to be a completely new Scotty, but under the wet conditions, we were talking about the very same with Ben earlier, that when they're uncomfortable, you can see they're uncomfortable.
Very defensive. Fabio going to be made to go the long way around. Can he get the cut back? He just spots an opportunity. The smallest of gaps. The inside going into the Brooklands corner. This time would have to be the outside of Luffield, but he's going to find himself run out of road there on the dirtier, wetter part of the circuit. But Scotty does a good job there, considering the circumstances, to keep Fabio at bay for the time being.
I think Fabio, though, will not be disheartened by this approach. They head in towards Copse Corner. Fabio, I say that as he gets it all kinds of wrong through Copse, the car just stepping out on him. I was going to say he's like a lion once he's got his eyes fixed on a target. He does not let that go. For the car, not necessarily playing ball here this afternoon. Safso as well, further back, wanting to get the better of his teammate Tukey. Through the exit of Chapel Corner, the run up towards Stowe Corner becomes the main focus now for the McLaren.
Sanderson there getting some cool water onto his tyres. Fabio looks at it at the inside of Stowe, but still not brave enough. Under braking, but sliding out wide goes Scotty again. Can this time the McLaren force his way through? In the middle of the circuit is the Aston Martin, but this time Fabio can finally dive to the inside. But again, hanging around the outside goes Scotty in the green machine. Do we have a foothold in the battle into the final corner? A little bit sketchy to go side by side through here. Scotty falls out of the racetrack, and Fabio says, thank you very much. I'll finally get that overtake one and done.
Beautiful stuff from Fabio. Scotty Designs now has not one but two. Papaya McLaren's for company. Little bit of contact there as Tukey just giving a love tap to the Aston Martin in front. Scotty goes deep in towards the braking zone in the first sector. He's not going to allow the car through though, because look at this. He's got Sapso for company, and I wonder if he's going to back Tukey up in towards Sapso at the moment. The run towards Brooklands and Luffield corner will come towards their own. Brandon Miles gets a 3-second penalty for multiple track limit violations, and Tukey is not letting the Scotsman go. Just to keep an update on rain as well, we're expecting it to cease in the next 4 or 5 minutes.
They are going to be a mad dash back to try and strap on the slick tyres, dangling the nose, but waggling the tail is Tukey on the exit of Luffield corner. Scotty Designs clearly still struggling in these conditions. Intermediate tyres all up. Maybe he needs oars or even some armbands to try and keep him on the straight and narrow. Wide in front, you can see there, that was Fabio pushing very hard. Big wobble and snap of oversteer for Sapso as well. It might be getting dry and the rain might be subsiding, but conditions still very, very treacherous and very slippery still.
Yeah, guys, we won't really start to see the benefits of dry running until that DRS gets enabled. The race control will send that notification across our screens and across all of the driver screens the moment they deem it safe enough to be able to get those rear wings open, which is something that we lose at the end of 2025, or lost at the end of 2025. But when that 26 DLC comes out, of course, drivers will be able to activate, hopefully, the XY axis movement that this active aero generation brings in with F1 26 DLC. We hope and pray for some more information on that DLC when it comes out, but I'm sure our drivers are ecstatic as we are up here in the commentary box.
Especially, like you said, if we get the inclusion of the upside-down rotating Ferrari rear wing, that'd be a fun one, wouldn't it? Alex Gillen's assault on Adam Sanderson definitely cooled in the past few laps. Hasn't quite got as close as he was previously, and maybe just seen the best of that brand new set of the intermediate tyres and hasn't used them to his advantage. Sanderson doing a sterling job to hold on to this 9th place, helping out his teammate as well. If you think about it, Ben up in P3. If he let Alex go, that's one car closer that Gillen can get to his main sparring partner. And he's really just held him in a cage here since the safety cars came out. Hasn't been able to use those intermediate tyres and really stalling with his progress.
Interesting to note as well, we saw a lot of drivers just dipping down the Wellington straight. They were just trying to cool their tyres once again. It's being shown by Gillen there. And I wonder if this dry line, I wonder if the rain has stopped actually. I'm trying to keep an eye on all the drivers if we're able to watch on board, being told that Alex's rear tyres are at a solid 100 degrees. So they are overheating to the nth degree. Yeah, no rain visible on that cockpit at the moment. So the rain stopped. It's not necessarily a dry track at the moment, so that is why everyone is trying to get as much moisture on their tyres as possible to keep them in that key operating range.
This could be the opportunity. Going defensive again is Adam Sanderson. Gillen to go the long way round. Is he brave under brakes? He hasn't got a lot of rear grip, but it's Sanderson that gets sideways over the curb and hands that one on a plate eventually to Alex Gillen, but maybe 7 or 8 laps too late as he finally gets up into 9th position, can chase after the Ferrari of Ricciardo 3 in front. Out in front though, I'm not sure if he saw it into Stowe corner. Lonanova was just over a 10th off the back of Cream as the other Aston Martin jumps into the pits.
So the first of the drivers entering into pit road then. Scotty Designs, who we've said all weekend has been more comfortable when it comes to dry running conditions. Let's see what tyres he bolts on to that lean green race machine. Hard tyres, surely, to see this race out now. No more required pit stops, of course. They will have served that one mandatory stop that they needed to do. The likes of Mango Slayer and Yori Van Heffen, of course, both into pit road as well. Hard tyres go on to Mango. What's it going to be on Yori after he has to wait for his teammate? Hard tyres as well. So 3 drivers opting for those white Wall Pirelli tyres. We see there Lottie Noba just struggling for traction at the exit of Brooklands corner, through Woods, cutting on towards the old pit straight towards Cops corner. They will go. Now the tyres are in a completely different ballpark of where they want to stand. They'll be struggling for grip because they're going to be overheating and putting them through the fast right-hander. That is where we could see maybe a few mistakes.
They'll be feeling incredibly spongy and very spiky as well, these tyres. You'll be dancing on the knife edge of grip between understeer and then oversteer on the exit, trying to keep it pointing on the straight and narrow. But Cream definitely hasn't got the rhythm that he had earlier on in this race as Infratic disposes of Chappers there. Fabio pitting under the safety car, making his way through the field. Chappers with 20 laps on his intermediate tyres, but Cream's still able to hold on to the lead of this race. Alex Gillen, once he's got into clean air, he's managed to take a chunk of time out of Ricciardo 3, but diving into the pits go the 2 leaders. Tim Marlett, the Lone Ranger, staying out.
I think it's a smart decision. If you're going to try and do an overcut here, makes sense to do so. You'll hope and pray that no TRS becomes enabled at this point as he practically drifts through that final corner, but everybody else in towards pit road. It will surely be hard tyres to see this race out, unless we are going to see someone maybe opting for what would be effectively the 3-stop to see this race out. Obviously, onto the mediums, off the mediums, sorry, onto the intermediates, off the intermediates, and then another pit stop after that as well. Mango Slayer picks up a 3-second penalty for multiple track limit violations. So how many drivers have we got staying out of pit road? It's a total of 7.
Well, Scotty's got half a front wing. I was going to say on those hard compound tyres might be a bit of an adventure to get them up to temperature and into the optimal operating window. And he's clearly had a chat with Barrier there and missing half of his front wing. Surely going to jump back into the pits to get that fixed. That is not good news for the driver that did, for the first time, qualify officially inside the top 10. But Ben staying out, interesting decision. I wonder if he's maybe just looked after his tyres a little bit better than Kareem and Lolly in particular. He was very happy just to sit around 0.8 of a second off the back of the leading duo, maybe just to give himself an advantage, an opportunity at this stage of the stint.
I think you're right. And if he's managed to save some tyre wear, this extra lap when DRS is yet to be enabled could be somewhat of a saving grace. I don't know what the tyre difference, the lap difference is going to be in effect. We'll wait and see, obviously, when Ben does decide to pit, along with the remaining 6 drivers that have yet to dive into pit road. We'll surely expect to see him in this time around as Scotty Designs opts for the medium tyres. And obviously, we spoke about why a lot of drivers are opting for those hard tyres. They not only will last the distance, that's the main factor in all this, but of course, the hard tyres have a lower operating temperature that they need to reach to, so it's easier to actually get them up to temperature than most of the other tyres.
What also might be something to consider is that would have been a very busy pit lane. Adam Sanderson, it was looking so rosy, but with a 10-second penalty, that's a big, big handicap he's going to have to hold for the second half of this race. But it would have been a very busy pit lane if Ben came in. There was an opportunity perhaps maybe to gain a place over Kareem and Lolly, but also lose places because Grid Jokes and Co. weren't that far behind. And he also will have this tyre offset. It might only be a lap, but with the lack of grip that the drivers are going to have at the moment, that could pay dividends. And still Kareem coming up towards turn 1 now. This could have worked out very nicely for the Australian ace.
And DRS enabled right as he exits out of the pit. He'll rejoin in the 3rd position, so has not lost as much as we probably were half expecting him to. So this is a great strategy call. Has lost exactly no places. As Team Emotic, DRS enabled. We're back to dry running here at Silverstone on lap 28 of 52. Everybody in hard tyres, bar one who's on mediums. That is going to be Scotty Designs. We'll watch Lottie Nova trying to challenge Karim 70, but as we reach half race distance, I think it's about time to throw it over to the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Scott Taylor. He's going to give us a little half race update. Scott, what do you got for us?
So welcome in everyone, we hope you're having a wonderful race. We're now at halfway distance. Looking surprising to see some of the drivers like Alex Gillen took a very dangerous attempt, as we see Lolly Nova also getting quite close again. But Alex Gillen got stuck behind Adam Sanderson. I feel like we need to give credit to Sanderson. He was able to keep Gillen back for a long time. Kareem's and Lolly's been looking dominant, but we can't forget about Tia McMurdoch. It has definitely been a good race for him, especially with Gillen down there. As much for drivers like that guy Vince was in the starting grid in 2nd place. He has went down to 5th now, but he seems to be doing okay as well. Unlucky to hear about the driver like Scotty Designs. He's just not having one of those races that you want to see, but we do love to see him keep trying. His qualifying was absolutely brilliant. Vince as well seemed to just be settling into this little bit of a group of train here. That's what we're noticing with this race. I feel like it's Gareth. Yes, it does hurt to give credit to Sanderson. Yes, it does. But at the end of the day, when he's doing good, he's doing good. Unfortunate to see the 10-second penalty. That is typical Sandy. So, lap 29 out of 52. Every driver's basically went to hards. They're going to be seeing this race out theoretically, but we all know what Career Series is like. You can get a random safety car. Kareem 70, we saw having a very, very slow race restart at the safety car. His argument will definitely be that he was trying to get all the other drivers to catch up with the back that we like, but there is rules at the same time. We'll see what happens with that. If you want to find out about updates that happen post-race, then you're going to have to either join the Discord to see results. You're going to have to go onto our social media throughout all the channels throughout the week where you will see more information. as things will happen after a race, just like in real life. So yes, if you've seen that button that says follow, subscribe, whatever it is, please get involved and let us know your thoughts throughout the week. Lolly no, but seems to be happy to stay behind Kareem at this moment. It's a race of strategy, right? They've both been at similar paces, so we're going to have to just see what the strategy plays out. Who can save their tyres the most, because he seems to just be about half a second behind. Ben seems to struggle in this. We have Scotty Designs has just retired, and we have a safety car. Tom Wilkinson, when you're back in a wee second, let us know how your thoughts about that, as we have a full-blown safety car. Lap 30. It's time for me to go back. TK, please.
I tell you what, I came back right at the perfect moment by the looks of things, as we have got a safety car. And as you were saying, Scotty Design's causing that one, unfortunately. He'd been having a good race, hadn't he? Right up until that moment, and sometimes the Great Wall comes falling down. I know Scotty has been looking forward to this race. He found some really true pace here this afternoon. Unfortunately, that is going to be the end of his campaign. Tom, what are your thoughts?
Difficult one. Looked like he was struggling. Already had a couple of adventures out there, especially on the hard compound tyres. If it was a deliberate safety car, not too surprised with how the race had unravelled in the 5 or so laps beforehand. If it wasn't, easy mistake to make. It looked like, though, it was right down the end of the Wellington Straight, so maybe that should say something to us. 4 out of 5 safety cars we've had now, though, and Adam Sanderson has been able to get rid of that 10-second penalty. He was actually quite lucky, because a lot of the big guns, I don't think, had the opportunity to come into the pits. Obviously, the trail of his, they wouldn't have wanted to come into the pits necessarily, because they've only been on their tyres for about 3 laps.
Tell you what, that cameraman's tracking of Adam Sanderson was impeccable, because even when he ran around the corner, he was able to pretty much pick out the red ball with the nth degree. But I tell you who we can go to in the next few moments, whilst everybody forms up under safety car. I believe Mr. Alex Heron has got something for us in Clipbook Corner. Alex, have you got something?
I've got a couple of clips in Clipbook Corner here, 2 that involve Mr. Adam Sanderson. And the first one is back in the wet conditions. This is when Alex Gillen was chasing him down. And I think Tom Wilson said he got caught on the curb. Well, I can correct you here, sir. It wasn't caught on the curb. It was actually by Mr. Alex Gillen, who comes across him a little bit aggressively. And Adam, I don't think, expects it. But he keeps it going in a straight line. And he was doing a very good race up until this moment right here. And this is the moment that unfortunately it all fell apart for Mr. Adam Sanderson. Coming into the pit lane here, he's just coming at way too much speed and slams the brakes on, and he was never slowing it down from there. And you can see his face of, he knows what he's done wrong there. And that, unfortunately, is going to cause a little bit of a problem for him later in this Grand Prix. But that's all the clips I've got for you. Scotty, unfortunately, I couldn't find him. I don't think he's streaming today, so I couldn't get his clip of crashing. But as I think Tom Wilson said, I imagine it was more of a on-purpose crash than it was anything else.
Yeah, unfortunate for Scotty there, and as you said, I don't think he streams just due to internet limitations, but the funny man himself, I'm sure, will make light heart of the situation when the meme recap drops at the end of this week. I believe he does them every couple of weeks, which is absolutely fantastic to see. They are probably some of the funniest videos on the internet, so do go check out Mr. Scotty Designs. Everybody looks to be bunched up under safety car. No one opting for a late pit there to maybe swap onto the mediums. Not that it would give much benefit over the tyres they're on already at the moment. We are going to go racing. Probably about 21 laps to go here, Tom.
Yeah, and everybody pretty much now on a level playing field. You've got the advantage that Ben's got, that Jake's got, Ricky's got, and Chappers as well. Safso also in there with that 1 lap tyre advantage that they'll have, and they, it's difficult to say it's going to be significant. However, that first lap that the Kareem and Lolly and co were on their hard compound tyres, the conditions were worse. They were working a little bit hard to get their tyres up to temperature, so maybe there is just a little bit of a discrepancy there in the tyre wear, expected tyre wear, compared to what they actually have. And then you go back to the likes of Ben and Meraki, who are on slightly better tyres than maybe they were expecting.
You're absolutely right, and they are going to continue through, and hopefully the safety car restart this time around will be a little bit more prompt, shall we say. But all 18 drivers back up together. Braze Control have given us the notification that safety car will be in this lap, and Bert Miner pulls away. Crim 7T, as we saw with Oscar Piastri a couple of years ago, slamming on the anchors down the straight.
Needs to be careful he doesn't do that again. Surely somebody would have told him. You just need to be a little bit more careful here on the restart. With everybody bunched up, I doubt he's going to just park the bus as he did previously. It's going to be interesting. Twice so far that he's had to bolt it coming out of a safety car period. Twice he's got it right so far as well. Will he go 3 for 3?
Tony, well, let's see then. Green flag will begin to fly. They run down towards Vale Corner, in towards Club as well. Grim 17 dropping the hammer by the look of it slightly early. I can't tell if he's gone or not because it doesn't look like full safety car speed, but he has. He's got up to speed. Lolly Nova just playing the cautious game. He's got Timo Mardik for company as they come through that final corner to start on to lap 32 of 52. 21 laps to go here in the Creator Series, and through turn 1 they'll go.
He wants to be punchy early on. Gridjoke's bad run through turn 1. Opportunity perhaps for Vince to maybe throw it to the inside and to get 4th place back off the hands of the Sauber. Remember, he qualified on the front row. He just about has a foothold in the battle. Sliding out wide is Gridjoke's perfectly executed cutback, and that should be P4, although still side by side through entry. Little bit too over the curb on the inside goes Vince, as Ben ducking weaving behind the Ferrari of Lodenober as well. Still side by side into Brooklands. This time, does he get the move done? Gridjoke's not going to go down without a fight. This time, we've got the inside now for Lovefield Corner, side by side for the whole first sector pretty much between this pair. Beautiful racing from both of them. Still eyeball to eyeball, but Vince with the run through would get out of Lovefield and does eventually get that P4.
And Gridjoke decided he didn't want the smoke there, didn't want to try and run side by side in towards Cop's Corner. We see how wrong it has gone in years and seasons gone past, but look at the train that is starting to form up as they make their way through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel Corner. The gap already forming from Vince up towards Timo Mardik. The front three at the moment are in a league of their own with nearly 2 seconds deficit down to 4th place, and then everybody else all the way down to Brandon Miles is within 1 second. Razin Chai now sends it down the inside as they head towards Stowe Corner, down towards Vale, round the outside he will go. Both Alpines now side by side, 2 former champions of the Creator Series going side by side in towards Vale. Through Club they go. It's Meraki who tries to look potentially for a switchback, but Gillen gets the better and will stand in 7th place for the time being.
For the time being, there's a look to the inside there into turn 1, but that was very, very well done by Alex Gillen there. Jake slightly wide through Stowe, still not overhit. He has to go defensive into turn 3, the long way round for Jake. It'll turn to the inside of turn 4. Brilliant racing between the last 2 champions in the Creator Series. Reigning champion versus recently deposed champion. Gillen on the outside of entry has the better line and still has 7th in his grasp, but Meraki fighting very, very hard for this one. I don't think it's going to be the end of this battle. Late under brakes, but Gillen has it covered.
Announcing his comeback to the Creator Series like the French Revolution is Meraki at the moment as they head through Lovefield Corner, through Woodcote and on towards the old pit straight. Both Alpines are so close together, somewhat inseparable as it stands, with Joran Heffen in 16th, 2 keys, dropped all the way down to 18th. It looks like he's had a bit of a whoopsie at the exit of Lovefield Corner, and that is not going to be a little bit of heartbreak for himself. Sanderson gets the better of Mango. Fabio gets past Recchi as well for 9th place. That must have been a spectacular move on the entry into Maggots and Beckett's.
Yeah, picking the pocket of the Ferrari, doing a very good job. Safso right in the thick of that battle as well. Raz, we saw on the previous lap, getting ahead of Gridjoke. If you consider where he was at the end of lap 3, penalty, front wing damage as well, having to pit, losing a whole host of time. He was down in P17. What a recovery this has been from the Season 5 champion. Still very much not out of the equation for a podium, especially if there's a late race safety car.
Yeah, we've used 4 out of the 5 possible, according to my calculations. So we are potentially within reach of having one more appearance of Bert Mylander before the end of this race. So, of course, the intentional safety cars will be available for our driver's disposal up until the end of lap 42. Just for clarification, before any upset Razins get in the chat, this is the end of lap 42 on the individual driver's point of view, not from our point of view.
Kind of like a marketing campaign there for the unintentional safety cars right at the end. The 2 Haas cars side by side, getting stuck into each other. Through Aintree we go. Jorik van Heffen's had a few adventures so far this evening, battling away with Mango down into Brooklands. Running down the hill on the inside is Mango. Jorik made to go the long way around. Can we find the cutback? The answer is no. Tucked up underneath the rear wing of his team, but sliding slightly wide through Lovefield, second part of the complex. Blundering to the inside, bit of contact as well. Jorik can't get ahead of his teammate, having to stay behind for the time being.
Good fighting, though, side by side between the 2 Haskars. I think there's a little sniff there from Jorik, potentially trying to stick a nose down the inside of Cop's Corner, but didn't want to try and go for a move that could end both his and his teammates' race over the course of this lap so far. We watch it with Lodi Nova once again trying to get in towards the slipstream of Karim 17. Razin Chai dispatches that guy Vince further back, so that promotes him to 4th place at the moment. There's lots of penalties up and down this grid as well. Lots of 3 seconds across this field. A few 6 seconds as well to both Tukey, who just gained an extra 3 seconds to his lap time, and of course Jorik van Heffen as well. We enter on towards lap 35. Just 18 more tours to go.
Let's not forget with Razin as well, he's got a championship to fight for. Winner in round 1, second in round 2, third in round 4. The only problem was that Hungary had an absolute stinker in qualifying and the race. Only P14 for a couple of points plus an intermediate pole time. So that handicap that he's got, that terrible race in Hungary, really holding him back. He should be leading the championship with the positions that he's had and the results he's had and the pace he's had.
Certainly, there's been a fantastic season so far, and still, I think within championship contention, should we see a resurgence in the latter stages of this championship. Meraki still clutching on to the coattails of Alex Gillen, who stands front. Of course, last race's race winner. Of course, we had one break week for a little thing called Valentine's Day, but Meraki wants to try and capitalise on the drivers that haven't necessarily had last week's prep. They're using what would be the extremities of Copse Corner, but cutting it a little bit too fine and running a little bit deep as a result. He loses a couple of tenths on Lord Gillen in 7th place. Lolly Nova still in the rear of Karim 17 now, with the aiding of DRS down towards Stowe Corner and through Vale. They'll look to try and run. Lolly Nova, I think, just happily playing the patient game here, as is Team Amardic. They're happy just to sit in that slipstream, sit with the DRS, not try and make any silly moves, because they know Razin Chai has still got an incredible deficit to try and overcome if he wants to try and battle for a podium as it stands at the moment.
Yeah, Lolly only moved a tenth closer there down the hang straight, which probably tells you the battery that he was deploying and how happy he was just to sit in the spectator role in second place for the time being. Alarm bells will start to raise if Razin does get closer, say that gap drops below 2 seconds. The top 3, they do not want Razin to come and also bring everybody else along with them. Tukey speeding into the pits. I imagine that's probably going to be throwing in the towel, and is. We have our third retiree, but it won't bring out our final safety car just yet.
Give him a penalty. Retiring in the pit lane, that is outlawed in the Creator Series here. I know it's only drivers that can report. I think that's appalling from Tukey there. Unfortunate to see him retiring the pit lane, so he will be taking no further part in this Grand Prix. If you're going to retire, just slam it into a wall. Why not? You've got to have a little bit of fun with it. But we've got just over 17 laps or so remaining of this circuit. Of course, we do continue on as normal. The front 3 still in a league of their own here this afternoon. We then have 4 all the way down to 11th place, intertwined within one another. All of them have DRS from one another, and then a little few more battles going on further back. Chappers on the back of Adam Sanderson, and of course Mango with Jorrit van Heffen battling it out for 15th place. We've got 2 drivers of both Brandon Miles and Austrian Andy stuck in somewhat no man's land at the moment.
A little bit. You can see Gillen, though, close to the back of Grid Jokes, although pulling out of the slipstream, trying to keep the engine temperatures in particular down, getting out of that turbulent weight coming off the back of the Sauber, who's just trying to cling onto the coattails of the Merc in front under a little bit of pressure, hovering at around about 0.8 of a second off the back of Vince, I should say, with those 2 Alpines prowling and growling behind the man in position number 6. Gillen will be chomping at the bit to try and get through, knows that there's a potential podium on offer if he can try and find his way through, because his pace, remember, in the dry was very, very strong.
Certainly. And again, running that dry setup, something he stated right from the inception of that sprint race. So he was hoping for this dry weather to come. No more rain is expected to see this Grand Prix. But I'll tell you, Tom, I'll tell you one thing that this race needs: some more driver facts.
Does it indeed? What driver fact can be brought up onto our screens as Gillen had a look to the inside? Grid Jokes now very much on the cusp of falling outside of 1 second. There is the magic 1000 as he's just ducking and weaving, just dipping his toes in and out of the 1 second window. He needs to have a good run out of Luffield and through Copse Corner, but 1.03, 1.1 off the back of Vince. This could be curtains for Grid Jokes' stranglehold on P6.
Certainly, and this is the way that we're starting to see this race unfold. Grid Jokes, whatever he's doing, is doing an incredible defensive act. He's making that car with one spot of a yellow flag in the second sector. I think that's Jorrit van Heffen, who's got away just before Woodcote Corner, before they run on towards the old pit straight. So will drop down to 17th place. Austrian Andy is promoted to 1 additional spot. Alex Gillen now has the run with a DRS and an elementary move there. He may not be Sherlock Holmes, he may not be Watson, but he is Gillen, and that was elementary.
Going to try and do a little bit of work, though, on his own here to get himself back inside the 1 second of Vince in front, to make sure that the group he's in don't get pushed even further away from A, Razin and Vince, and B, the leading trio out in front, who are very happy just to go about their business, doing what they like, and they are very much liking what they're doing. Getting with a good Vale chicane, gets himself underneath the 1 second benchmark.
Certainly so, and in towards the first sector, all of our drivers are on. We're in the stage of the race now, where they're thinking about longevity, thinking about getting to lap 52. They know it's no longer 1 in every single corner here. They have got to think about the race as a whole as the field continues to bunch up slightly more and more. The season 12 champion returns. Will have a point to prove as he returns as champion. I'm fairly sure he's season 11 champion, if memory serves me correctly.
If he picks up the Season 12 championship from this position, missing the first 4 races, hats off, Jake. You are officially the greatest driver we have ever seen in the history of the EA Sports F1 Creator Series. And he does already have 1 point to his name so far, as he said, that 8th place in the sprint from last on the grid.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what, there's some lore behind it as well. Obviously, if anyone watched F1 testing in real life, we saw Lando Norris was allegedly announced as the 2026 F1 Drivers' World Champion. So I'm sure producer just keeping the lore going, of course, because Jake is Season 11 champion. We've been told no more driving facts after making fun of it, though, which is incredibly disappointing.
We've exhausted the supply. That's the problem. We've littered them all off. We've gone through a litany of them. Well, apparently there's one more. We just need to wait for it to appear and see what happens. It's Razin Chai. Well, will Razin Chai be complaining there aren't too many safety cars or virtual safety cars in tonight's VC? Answers on a postcard too. Probably Gareth Allen will be the one that he'll be having the chin wag with.
I believe you can send them directly to Creator Series Complaints at Broadcasting House. Postcode is anyone... I don't know, 734. That is a real life postcode that definitely means nothing. Razin Chai, though, will be, I think, moaning about too many safety cars here this afternoon. I mean, especially if we see one more before race end. That still can come within the next 3 laps, or at least within the next 13. Should we see anybody unintentionally end themselves in a barrier, who knows what is going to happen. I wish I knew the future, but I do not.
Surely he'll be wanting a safety car, though. At this rate, 3/10 quicker than the leaders on the previous lap. Fastest man on circuit is Razin as things stand. 28.8. Cream and Lolly 29.1. He can just eke away at that, get himself inside the 1 second window, maybe in the next 10 laps. So give himself an opportunity to fight with the leaders on the last lap. But look how they're converging coming out of Chapel Corner. Equidistant, Cream to Lolly to Ben. Are we going to see some trading blows?
This is what we're all waiting to see then. It comes down to the final few laps. There's a little hint of a move there from Timo Mardik, just wanting to break out the slipstream, get in the mirrors of the cars behind, or cars in front, should I say. Meraki gets the better of grid jokes with a helping hand of DRS up towards Stowe Corner and down towards Vale once again for the 39th time over the course of this Grand Prix. A little bit late on the brakes though was Meraki, just managing to get the car slowed down as well. Tyres up on your screen, just a reminder of how everybody's looking. Mostly hard is this grid, with one driver is a little bit medium, then Joris is unfortunately soft. I mean, on the softs.
Yeah, slightly softer than everybody else. Very soft because it's 1 lap he's had on those tyres after a bit of a whoopsie coming out of Luffield and attached at the back of the pack. And like we said a few moments ago, quite a few adventures out there here it's had today, it has to be said. Razin just getting the gap down incrementally, almost dipping below 2 seconds as Vince just about keeping tabs on him, keeping that RB within inside the 1 second window so he can get dragged along, ideally up to the leading trio. But it's Jake that's actually lost 2.2 seconds to his teammate. He's got ahead of grid jokes, but he's now detached from the secondary trio that find themselves battling from 4 to 6.
Yora, interestingly, has made 5 pit stops in this race. He's going for a Jenson Button in Canada 2011, just opting for as many pit stops as he can possibly pull out of his pit crew. But Timo Mardik still on the back of these front 2. They're just letting each other battle. I think Timo Mardik knows this game. He's an old Sly Fox, is the native Australian. He knows how to play this game, both physically and metaphorically. He knows where he stands, and he just wants to try and keep within that 1 second. Joris says the fastest lap of the race, though. A 28 flat for the Dutchman. That obviously makes sense. Lowest that he's going to be on fuel all race and on a fresh set of soft tyres.
He's ticking off things from the checklist of Canada 2011. He's been in last a couple of times. He's had contact with his teammate. I think he has touched with a Ferrari at one point. He's got 5 out of the 6 stops, and he's got the fastest lap to his name. We all know what he still needs to accomplish.
Whether we'll see that is yet to be determined. Of course, if we see a safety car, this could make for a very interesting end to the race for Yora if everyone dives into pit road and he decides to stay out, because, of course, he'd only have 2 extra laps on his set of tyres. All will be revealed in the next, 10, 11 or so laps of racing. But let us know in the live chat down below who you think is going to claim victory here at the Earl Grey of British motorsport. And it's going to be a thrilling race regardless of whether it's going to be Karim Lodinova, Timo Mardik, or someone else entirely. Keep an eye on Razin Chai. I've said that a few times tonight, but of course he is still one of the fastest drivers on this circuit. Equalled the time of Karim 17, but made about 6/10 on Timo Mardik last lap around.
Yeah, Ben seems to just be toing and froing, looking after his tyres, getting close and then backing off, making sure he's not taking too much out of the fronts in particular, just trapped in the dirty air of Kareem and Lolly in front of him. It's going to give him an advantage down the straights, of course, but it's going to hinder him significantly going through Maggots, Beckett's Chapel, and, of course, Copse Corner. Lolly, that Ferrari looks a little bit lively. We've got a yellow flag. That is Yorick again, stopped coming out of the Vale chicane, now on the run-up into Club Corner. I think he's just done some grass trimming for us on the inside.
Oh, we're seeing Yorick get very loose, pointing backwards on the start-finish straight. And everybody's going to be coming through at full speed. We have yellow flags. Yorick is going to be parked right in the middle of the circuit. This is a bold place to be. Yorick cuts across onto the grass. Goes Karim 17. Lolly Nova has to follow them through. And oh my goodness, we very nearly saw carnage as Yorick tries to spin himself around right in the middle of the start-finish straight as the entire rest of the grid go flowing on past. That is going to be a heart-in-mouth moment for our leader of Karim 17.
Bit of a Code Brown moment there. Not a massive fan of it. To be honest, he gets a 10-second penalty for corner cutting very wide there through Aintree. I think that is Yorick who slammed it into the wall. And there is your fifth and final safety car of the evening. That'll bring Razin back into the game with everybody else behind. Jake also will get himself back there. But that was, yeah, that was interesting. Eyes on stalks, definitely for Kareem there. He had to have his wits about him. Was on the grass, almost had his wheel ripped off, down to, well, not much that he could have done about it.
I want to watch that from Karim's point of view because there is going to be... Oh, who's off in the background? Razin. Razin's gone off.
Oh, he's broken... No, he hasn't broken his front wing.
He's broken the brake marker board. What has happened there?
Was he just... Did he nearly slam into the back of Ben? I mean, that's another clip that we could try and... see what's happened. I mean, everything's gone to pot. We can't say the words to describe what we're actually thinking about it, but things have definitely hit the fan in the last 30 seconds or so, with Yorick doing some gymnastic work and some circus acts there down the main straight, almost scaring Kareem within an inch of his life, and then Razin just doing some confetti there with the brake marker balls on the run into what I imagine would have been Copse.
I want to see Karim's face after seeing Yorick backwards, sideways across the start-finish straight, and then having to go onto the grass. Everyone's in the pits, is to be expected here. Soft tyres or medium tyres to see this race out with just under 9 or so laps to go. Meraki gets a 10-second penalty for tapping the rear of Pratik, and Grid Jokes also gets a 10-second penalty for touching the rear of Pratik. Razin Chai comes across team radio. I love styrophobia, so this could be interesting. I wonder if he's going for those bonus points that definitely don't exist. Fabio's opted for the wet tyres, everybody.
Did Fabio get a penalty? I know that we saw Jake. Did Fabio get one as well? I can't quite remember.
He has, yeah, he's got one. He's got 10 seconds.
So that'll be actually good thinking there from Fabio, to be fair. He's managed to switch the tyres on so he can come back into the pits and not use up a set of the gold dust tyres that he would want. Ben trying to get ahead of Lolly there, saw an opportunity potentially to slide through. Leading duo on the softs, the group behind on the mediums, and then everybody else behind them on the softs, with the exception, of course, of Fabio, who will be back into the pits to get rid of those wet compound tyres. But you have to commend him the speed at which he managed to change his tyres.
This is hilarious because he is going to hold up everybody behind him. They're not going to be allowed to overtake him because we're under safety car conditions, but he's not going to be able to corner anywhere near to what the safety car's doing. I appreciate it's still going to be a rather slow-moving safety car. He is caught back up to the majority of the pack, but he could kind of back off and claim devil's advocate here to see how it goes. But enough of our talking. Alex is the man with all of the information that we so desire to do with this situation. We watched Grid Jokes try to get past Fabio, which he will not be allowed to do. Alex, we'll throw it over to you here, chap.
Well, this is certainly a Code Brown moment. As you see, Kareem, I'm sure you could see on the map Yorick in the distance, but sometimes you're so locked into driving in an F1 car that you don't pay attention to what's going on around you. As you can see, Yorick there, and that was the moment. But Kareem, very calm indeed. I've never seen him actually be more calm. He just gives a little shake of his head and moves on with it. I mean, he was trying to go back a little bit here. He was maybe a few inches away from losing his front tyre. Yeah, I mean, Yorick... yeah, I don't know what Yorick was trying to do there, but good reactions from Kareem. But then, you want to see what happens to Razin Shai. I'm guessing you won't guess what it is. But he's sort of driving there. He's talking to his chat or talking to dogs nearby, and he does this. And just lets go of his wheel and almost loses it completely there. And he gives a little bit of reaction to the camera. I don't know what he was doing, but there you go. That's what happens, ladies and gentlemen, if you let go of the force feedback wheel. But yeah, that's it for me. Get back to the racing.
interesting to note here, and thank you, Alex, for all of that. Fabio's just got a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pits to serve his 10-second penalty. You cannot make this up.
No, can't write that. That's not ideal. Once again, we're going to strap on another U set of tyres, this time 16-lap old hard tyres. Kareem loving the styrophobia as well, as we are under the safety car. This will, of course, be the final safety car, because we have had all 5. Bit of contrast, because remember, Spa, we had no safety cars. I think we've only had 1 safety car race so far. It's been less than 1 a race on average so far this season, but now we've filled the entire quota. And Kareem as well, he is a very, very calm guy. I'm surprised that he wasn't wincing at all when he was going past Europe, even though he saw the Haas try to get out of the way. I would definitely not have kept my cool as he did there.
We've just had clarification from Alex. It was a 10-second for ignoring yellow flags, apparently, that has got in front of there. Ricky A3 still opting for that Angry Birds hat as well, which is interesting. I want to see this haircut, Ricky. If he comes in for an interview, I'm firstly making him take his hat off, which is the more interesting thing that we want to see. We've got a couple of people, well, one person in the chat saying you can overtake in the pit lane on the last lap. Only if it's raining and only if we're within about 3/10 of the car in front. There are very, very specific margins for that to happen, and we've all seen the clip. Trust me, I was there, I know. But there were very, very specific conditions in which you have to do it.
Yeah, we saw Fabio try it in the sprint, actually, right at the end. He dived into pits to try and get ahead of a couple of cars. Didn't work. He ended up losing time to the group in front of him, ended up a second off the back of P4. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yorick drops out of the session after giving us quite a lot of entertainment and maybe some changes of clothes required as well.
Certainly so, and everybody will get themselves lined up for probably one final run. I haven't seen any notification that safety car will be in this lap, which will be to Fabio's good graces. Bert Marlander just diverts past pit road, and we'll go for at least one more tour here of the Silverstone circuit. Fabio still has a 10-second penalty which he needs to serve. The question is, if he serves it here, I don't think he's making it to the back of the pack.
They are pretty slow. That's the one thing I would say. We also know is, I mean, you don't want to get a 3-second penalty for corner cutting as well. I mean, this could be a record for penalties. Please slow down, Fabio. We've all got our fingers crossed. I think he makes absolute certainty there that he doesn't get a speeding in pits penalty. And this should be the tyres that he straps on that will take him to the end of the race.
How many pit stops is this now for Fabio? Let's count them off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be his 6th pit stop of a race.
That's more than average as he sits there waiting with the Ferrari helmet in the McLaren car.
Nothing to see here. This is back when the days of Hamilton used to drive for McLaren, albeit when it was McLaren Mercedes and everything to do with that. But Fabio peels out the pit road, doing double the amount of pit stops of our top 4 at the moment. Sorry, our top 5 at the moment. We've all just had 3 pit stops to their name. So if he manages to get points from today, which, I mean, technically he's only got to gain 1 position to do so, I will still be impressed.
He's not necessarily the outright winner, though, of the most pit stops challenge, because Mango in 12th also has 6 pit stops to their name, and thankfully has changed from the vertical iPhone camera to the horizontal webcam so we can see a bit better.
I've got number to 5 for Mango here. That's my count of pit stops for Mango. It's 6 for Fabio, 5 for Mango. He did 3 stints on a set of intermediates, though. That is impressive in itself.
Maybe I just can't count, or
Are
I
you counting
just can't
stints
read
instead of
either.
pit stops?
Oh, that might be what it is. I might have made myself look stupid.
I think you might be counting stints rather than pit stops. Because you're right, Mango has done 6 different tyre stints, but that would equal 5 pit stops for this start on a set of the tyres. But, as our producer so lovingly says in our safety car is in this lap. Can we ride on board with Karim just to see what speed he's doing? I'm curious more than anything.
Slow, but he's not in first gear, so he is trying to let Fabio catch up. Watch for that 50 kilometers an hour, I think it is, Mark, or 50 miles an hour. I can't remember exactly what it is. Fabio should catch up to the back of the snake, though, and we will be able to go green flag running with everyone involved in this lead group.
Certainly will. Green flag flies from the race control boxes. Spurt Mylander well and truly back in towards pit road. It's now up to Karim 70 when he is going to launch towards the line. As they run down, albeit much slower than usual, towards Vale and in towards Club Corner. The lean green racing machine will lead once again. Yet another restart, the final restart of this race. Pretty much everybody on soft tyres with a few exceptions, of 3rd down to 6th place. And round the final corner, Karim 17 does have his foot to the floor and launches away.
who you'd expect here, Ben, will come into his own maybe in the final few laps. Remember back to Saudi Arabia, right at the start of the season, Razin versus Lolly. Lolly was on the soft tyres at the end, Razin the mediums, and those soft tyres faded very quickly. Ben on the move, is he in the groove? He throws it to the inside. Carnage all over the place. Ben trying to take second place off the hands of the Italian stallion. Down the inside into Aintree, who goes still eyeball to eyeball. Gillen up to P5. Safso making places too. Squeezed onto the grass is the championship leader.
Still managing to maintain at the moment. Tim Martix to the inside. Lonnie Nova runs him out of road. At the exit in towards Luffield, in through Brooklands they will go. And round the final corner through Woods, getting on towards the old pit straight. Still side by side they will run. And surely this is going to be a bit of a recipe for disaster. Side by side they go. Razin Chai once again weaving side by side through Cobb's corner. Oh, Ben runs out wide. Lonnie Nova has to hold the inside line that time around. But again, they're still inseparable. Through Maggots, through Beckett's, through Chapel they will run. This time though, Lonnie Nova has to give away the position to Timo Marek.
How they're not upside down. Lolly had to catch a massive slide coming through Cops as Ben went wide in the dirty air, trying to hang it around the outside. They've afforded Kareem the opportunity to scamper off into the distance, but Ben, you would say, on the better tyres. Wide again, though, this time through Stowe. Everybody all over the place.
Timo Marek, of course, on medium tyres compared to the soft right in front and behind him, so he's got the longevity. He knows he can push these to a greater degree, and on your screens are all the tyres that everybody's running. DRS re-enabled then to take us to race end. 6 tours of Silverstone making their way forwards to the inside. Goes around Lolly Nova trying to get the better of Razin. Chai once again, Razin goes very late on the brakes, almost running into the rear of Timo Marek, but they're side by side. Lolly Nova swooping around the outside.
But he got his braking right into the loop. Didn't quite get it right there, or into finish. Didn't get it right into the loop. He was a little bit too committed. Down the inside was Razin there. Got bulked behind Ben, and that is what put Patey the opportunity to get himself back inside the top 3 for the first time since lap number 3, as Lolly with a bit of a slide coming out of Luffield. Little bit too lively on the loud pedal, but Kareem nearly 2 seconds up the road now from Ben.
This is going to be hurting Timo Marek. He knows he wants to try and chase forward. He can't afford to wait for that tyre crossover. It's already probably starting to happen at the end of this lap, but as they continue to break away up front, Karim 17 knows he's got one firm hand on that trophy at the end of the day.
And Razin can't sleep easy either, because look who's behind him. Alex Gillen in P5, very close coming out of Chapel Curve. Timo Marek under pressure. Lolly to the inside, thinking about it, just shows the nose. But as he's a little bit wide there through Stowe, having to sit behind the Australian ace once again for the time being. 4 former champions inside the top 5, the other one the championship leader. This is Creator Series at its best, everybody.
It certainly is a Creator Series classic at Silverstone. It's what the history books realistically were asking for. It's been so long since we've had a great fight like this on our hands. Timo Marek still having to defend from Lonnie Nova, who looks towards the inside as we head in towards Loop. This is a fantastic battling we're seeing. Timo Marek shows him the hand, allows him up into second place. Razin Chai well and truly hot on their heels as well as they run down the Wellington Straight towards Brooklands, towards Luffield, and the slipstream in the toe has started to come into the Australians' favour. To the outside now goes Ben, looking to go around the outside of Brooklands. He tries, he doesn't quite have the grip on those tyres at the moment. He's got to wait for the soft tyres to be a more of a disadvantage. But the exit of Luffield through Woodcote, they'll run on towards the old pit straight once again. Timo Marek, the old sly fox that he is, he knows the opportunity will come to him.
Less than 5 to go. Could you work together with Lolly at this stage to try and get back towards Cream? Ben probably thinking, I don't think Lolly's got the pace to get back up to the Aston Martin. I'm going to have to do this all by my lonesome over the curb through Chapel, through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, but wide there through Chapel. He could be under the cosh here, all over the place, struggling in the wake and the dirty air. Razin arriving on the scene, Gillen arriving on the scene as well, but with the DRS that Ben's got, I don't think he's going to be under pressure. Will, for the time being, keep Razin in his back pocket.
Little bit wide from Timo Marek. They exit out of Stowe Corner into Vale. They go. Razin Chai now knows he could have a run on the Australian through Club Corner on towards lap 49 of 52. 4 tours to go of this great British circuit, and the top 4 pretty much inseparable at the moment, with Karim 17 still with a 2-second lead. But last time out, Karim was 3/10 slower than Lolly Nova. They are starting to make those inroads.
Aided by the DRS, of course, that Lolly would have had in Sector 1. The other Ferrari moving backwards. Safso down the inside of the loop, turns to the outside. He's going to try and force it in there. A little bit of contact, a little bit of wheel locking. Safso on the curb and on the grass, Tony Hawking it. Adam Sanders and Buffet driving there. Help yourself with Safso slightly compromised. This could be up to P7 potentially, and not too long for Sanderson. Just struggling. Look at the back of the Ferrari there and turning. Wasn't very nice, wasn't very recalcitrant as he tries to work it. Riccio 3 looking very unstable there, and that should be music to the ears of Adam Sanderson.
I think it traditionally would be, but they're both on the same lap old tyres now. I wonder if Adam Sanderson is reading fortunes in the rubber of Riccio 3 in front as they come through Cops Corner. It didn't look like he was at full throttle, especially not in gear 8 at all. So just take it a little bit easy, making sure that he gets that car to the end of the Grand Prix through Beckett's, through Chapel Curve as well, and on towards that hanger straight, down towards Stowe Corner. DRS will open for Sanderson. He'll have the opportunity to drag slightly more towards the rear end of Riccio 3. You can see where he's confident, and that is well and truly under braking.
And Kareem should have this locked down as well. 3/10 quicker in the first sector, 4/10 quicker than Lolanover in the middle sector. That gap extending out to 3 seconds, fastest lap of the race, making everybody behind look purple as he's nearly, in fact he is, over a second quicker.
Absolutely outstanding for Karim. He knows how to play the game. He's burnt as much battery as he can, and that is going to come to his benefit in droves towards the end of this Grand Prix. 3 tours remain, and the more the 3 behind him battle, again, it's only going to help him hand over fist. Lolly Nova still not allowing the Australian a hint of getting into second place. Rising China, Alex Gillen know where they stand at the moment, 4th and 5th respectively, and they'll want to try and get a podium out of this, but they have to be careful with how they do it. No late heroic moves is what is needed.
100%. But you are running out of laps, running out of time. Less than 3 to go. If Ben's going to try and get ahead of Lolly, can he chase down Cream 17? Doesn't look like the soft tyres are going to fade away like they did in Saudi Arabia right at the start of the season. That's going to be good news for Lolanoba and for Cream as well. But wide through Cops, maybe going to be a little bit vulnerable into Stowe if Ben can stay glued to the back of the Ferrari through Magus, Beckett and Chapel.
Somehow, Lolly Nova still has 0 warnings to his name. I'll tell you who has 2 though, Razin Chai. Slightly further afield, he cannot afford to extend track limits any more than he already has. Team of Monica and Gillen both have 1 to their name, but Lolly Nova in such an incredible position. He can maybe start to use these track limits warnings a little bit strategically if he's required to on the final 2 laps of this race. Once again, not making the required inroads on Karim 17. So unless we see a mistake by the Aston Martin, surely this has got to be his for the taking.
Been gift wrapped to him. All he has to do in the remaining 2 laps is open it, but that is easier said than done. But still, Tim applying the blowtorch to Lolanover. I think Lolly definitely running slightly lower wings, so is Ben going to have to get creative, as we saw on the restart, trying to pile driver down the inside, plunder through, but he lights up the rear tyres, and suddenly from attack to defence, Razin right on his tail.
Certainly is. Now the run up towards Brooklands and Luffield Corner. Razin Chai knows he can afford to try and make this move, but he can't afford to extend track limits, something we will reiterate over the next lap and a half, but he's practically on the gearbox behind. But Gillen, look at this, coming out of absolutely nowhere, with pretty much clutching on the gearbox of Razin Chai further forwards, and this is going to be pressure from in front and behind from Chai.
Mighty scrap going on behind for P6. Vince, Ricky, Sanders and Safso, despite the penalty, battling very, very hard as well. Just behind that quartet, Austrian Andy with a 3-second penalty. This is getting lively late on, but as we said, running out of laps, just 1.5 to go. Green comfortable out in front, still unsure who's going to finish second, but the dirty air seemingly hampering Tim Mollick, along with the straight line speed of the Ferrari.
With just over 1 lap to go then, as we said, the win pretty much wrapped up here. Karim 17 has just got to wait for his birth date to arrive, but the 2nd place and 3rd place finish are still to be decided. Razin goes wide, they exit through Stowe, Gillen towards the inside, into the heavy braking zone of Vale. Through Club Corner they go, both cars rubbing is racing through the exit of the final corner, and Razin Chai scrapping to stay in contention for 4th place, the inside, trying to hold itself as they head through Abbey, down towards Farm Curve. Gillen manages to get up to 4th place, but look at this, by doing so they're sacrificing the podium.
Yeah, Gillen going to be vulnerable, but it was that mistake from Razin. Tried to force the issue, did Gillen. Did make it work, but he has lost the DRS to the group in front. Could he fall back behind the Season 5 champ? Ben running out of opportunities, ducking and weaving, jinking behind the Ferrari. Saw the smallest of gaps to the inside of Brooklands, but couldn't get a foothold. Razin still having it out with Gillen outside of Brooklands, inside of Luffield Corner. Is the former 2-time champ going to get squeezed down on the exit? Does he have the space? Does he have the traction? Still side by side through Woodcote.
Still side by side down the old pit straight as well towards Cops Corner, the infamous Cops Corner. Razin has the inside line. Gillen deciding it is not worth it to try and hold on. We've been told Austrian Andy bolting on the full wet tyres to finish off this race. Team Harmonic towards the inside now, trying to challenge the Italian stallion, the softer tyres. Surely starting to not hold their own, but the fresher tyres, rather, Lolly Nova, sorry, has the DRS. That could be absolutely critical as they run up towards Stowe Corner. Can the Australian sensation maybe try and pull off a miracle here? Both cars running wide through Stowe, but Karim 70, after a slow restart earlier, it was a fast finish for himself through the final corner to win it at Silverstone. Lolly Nova will hold on to second place. Team Harmonic will take a very well-deserved third. And Riccio 3, trying to finish in the pit lane, will drop down to 7th.
That was an interesting finish, wasn't it? Tetchy between Razin and Gillen. Ben tried the audacious move into Maggots and Beckett's, but because he didn't feel like he could pass Lolanova in a straight fight down the straight, so you have to commend the opportunism. Didn't quite pull it off and in turn handed the DRS to the Ferrari down the hanger straight.
I think we need to have questions here. And can we just focus on Meraki for a second? He's finished with 53 seconds worth of penalties. What did this man do? Alex, I'm going to send you on a hunting mission if you don't mind, because I saw he at least got 20 seconds for corner cutting right to the end. Did he just straight line Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel to try and get ahead on track? That was my assumption.
Maybe. I'm trying to see. We can see this is where his AI car is. So he's clearly managed to slice off a decent chunk of the circuit, and the reigning champion will return with 1 point in the sprint and 1 point in the main race, totting up to, if you can do maths very well, 2 there. Got a little bit of front wing damage that he's picked up somewhere in there as well. But for the second time, it's a Karim 17 victory. Return to the podium after a slightly off day in Canada a couple of weeks ago. But with Lolly and Tim Harmonic first and second in the championship, right behind him on the road, the top two still continuing on.
Absolutely, and this will be your podium celebrations this afternoon. Karim 70 takes to the top step for the Lean Green Racing Machines, joined by the Italian Stallion and the Australian sensation Lolly Nova and Team Harmonic. After starting 3rd, 1st and 6th respectively, a fantastic drive from all of our drivers. Riccio 3, of course, finishing 7th after qualifying 13th, so a great drive from him today. And Chappers finishing 9th on the field after qualifying 15th, an almighty drive from the Williams driver.
Especially when you consider the second place in the sprint as well. What a load of points that is going to be for Williams in the constructors, crucially, and for his own championship push, battling to try and maybe get up to his teammate, fight for a spot inside the top 10. Semi-good for Aston Martin in the constructors as well. Obviously, Scotty Designs not seeing the checkered flag, but Karim 70 doing the dog work out front and doing a very, very good job. Race winner and fastest lap for himself. Driver of the day for Emphatic. Most overtakes for Mango Slayer. And clearly, nobody was clean at all. Everybody was dirty, as you like, because we don't have a cleanest driver.
You know what? I'll award one myself, because the only driver without a warning, Adam Sanderson. Everybody else got at least one warning. So Adam, from us here, that is cleanest drivers. But as we run down, Karim, Lolly Nova, Team Harmonic, we then have Razin, Chai, Gillen, that guy Vince, Riccio 3, Sanderson, Chappers, and Fratic as your top 10. Safsoak, Grid Jokes, Brandon Miles, Magasair, Meraki, Austrian Andy, Jorik van Heffen, one of the first of the DNS with Tukey, Scotty Designs, Concept 7 as your top 20. All those retires. Back to you in the studio.
Very nice, TK, to get that done in time. Well done, mate. Right, what banging racing. Okay, that was great. I was a bit slow in the way. I was like, come on, let's go a little bit. But then once it got dried a little bit, everyone just came out. Now, what I need to say before we look at that clip from you, Alex, is just how amazing the top guys were at like pushing the limits, but not pushing it too hard. Actually phenomenal racing, right?
Yeah, it was fantastic racing. Obviously, as you said, the bit in the middle with the rain, it kind of slowed the whole race down. But towards the last couple of laps, it really started to go full throttle in the end. And yeah, that move from Ben to try and take second place in Maggots and Beckett's was almost brilliant. Oh, sorry, you've caught me watching the 24 Hours of Mental Health stream. You should go check that out over on the 24 Hours of Mental Health stream channel. But anyway, going back to the clip from today's stream. So this is the last clip we have. Basically, TK wanted to know what Meraki did to get so many penalties. Well, I can tell you what he did. So you see that corner there? You think you'd normally go for that corner and brake zone. He decided to do this, which I think personally is a lot quicker of a line. I don't know why more drivers don't do it. So he got himself into the top 10 on track. He did unfortunately gain himself 53 seconds worth of time penalties. But overall, I think it was a very good final corner for Meraki.
Love it. Well, there you go, Meraki doing Meraki things. I just love that. I got right into that in the end. Unfortunate for someone, I feel like Razin, with a few less mistakes, would have been right up there as well. But TMMR, honestly, when he was going for that in the final couple of laps, I was convinced there was going to be one of them crashing out or some sort of chaos happening. But it's just amazing. You had those two, then you had Razin and Gillen. What I found personally with Razin, if you're ever racing Razin, you will always get the space, and we saw that as well with Gillen. Just so cool. I just love racing like that without it just some guy going off the corner like 3 corners in because they end up hitting, right?
Yeah, I think it's classic racing from those two. Not a bit of wheel banging, but probably on the limit of where it should be. And it did allow Kareem to sort of drive off into the distance with all that battling behind. But I think that made up for the fact that we had 2 really good battles, and also the battle down in the midfield, which a lot of people didn't get to see. The battles for 6th, 7th, 8th was very good indeed. So I think it was just a fantastic race overall. Classic creative series, we'd call it there.
Yeah, 100%. And Sandy got cleanest driver with not having a single warning. Fair play. Like, that man has done well. We're not giving him it, apparently.
That's what Gareth said.
I agree.
Blame Gareth.
But to be fair, love to see that. That's a difficult thing to do for a 100% race. All right, so we're going to go to interviews first. If I am correct, we have Mr. Ben Daly in. Oh, okay. Welcome in. Ben, how are we? Give us your thoughts. How was that?
Sweaty, very sweaty. Weirdly, I feel like my muscles are seizing up in my biceps. I was gripping the wheel really hard there for the last 10 laps. It was just really tough. Like, lots of dirty air, super low wings, the meta. We were all pretty identical on pace, me, Karim, and Lolly. But it's just the nature of the track, the nature of these cars, and the nature of this game. You have to pull off something pretty spectacular to get through on other people.
But to us, that was banging. I'm just going to say, like, that race at the end, especially with you and Lolly and Oba, I was just saying to Alex before you came on, it's like you found the ultimate line of just how much you can push it, but not one of you's DNF or spin out in the track, right? So what cool scenes. Now, can I ask you a question? The medium tyre decision at the end, did you think the softs would go quicker or what? What was your thoughts with that?
The medium tyres are the best race tyre, I think, in my opinion, especially for a short run like that. The softs tend to overheat a lot, and so keeping them in check is quite difficult. But we had a really slow restart, which assisted with keeping them in the game for quite a few laps. Yeah. And then we had a long safety car as well. I think if we maybe went a lap longer, things might have been a bit different, but fair play to Karim and especially to Lolly for actually holding on with those tires, because I thought they'd be goners.
Yeah, we did too, to be honest. We thought you had it, but they just never seemed to go. I guess you're right with the safety car. Well, look, all we can say is that was a banging end. The start middle was a bit slow for us, but definitely at the end there, you all absolutely nailed it. I actually love to see it. So, you looking confident this season? What's your thoughts with taking it? You're very close to the front now. Is it starting to get a bit nervous now?
Taking what?
Like, taking the whole season, how? You're not far away. You're pretty much in the lead, kind of if or so with Lolly.
Yeah, I'm not too far away. I'm not thinking about it too much. I just want to win a race. Yeah. that's my goal, and then after that, we'll see where we are in the last few races. It's creative series. Lots of weird and wacky things can happen. So I'm just enjoying each race and trying to just think about that sole race in isolation of itself. But Zandvoort next week is again going to be another tricky one. So could be spicy.
I love it. Well done, mate. We love to see it. What a crack. And maybe not the result you wanted, but for us it was banging. So have a great week, and I'm sure we'll see you next week in the commentary booth after you've had another top 3 finish. So well done, mate.
I wish. We'll see. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right, we'd love to hear it as well. Okay, who we got in next? Let's go. Yes, every single time I have presented this show, every single time I have spoke to the same person because he's done so well. Lolly Nova, hello, welcome.
Ciao.
How are you?
All good, grazie. You?
I'm great. I just all the better for seeing you every single time. It feels like you're in the top 3. That was an incredible race end with Ben. Tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, it was really an aggressive drive. I just know how to dance maybe with Tia. I don't want to stay behind, so I just try to push every time in every corner. So that's how I'm racing Tia today.
I love that. Are you happy with the second place, or do
No.
you think you could have got Kareem?
I don't think I can get today Karim because in this track, not in other, obviously. The dirty area and the slipstream was really bad, only in Silverstone. And anyway, I think I can't get time today. Was impossible to overtake.
Fair play. Some days you're just not going to be able to get that. All we can say from our end, that was such a fun race end. Watching you two fight, and we also had Gillen and Razin behind as well. Lolly Nobel, you know what it's like. Your fans are some of the most vocal fans in the world. We love to see them. If you get any words, they've been cheering your name in all of our streams this week. Is there anything you would like to say to them?
We need to win the championship. That's all.
Yes.
Ferrari back.
I have a good feeling. Lolly. All right, well, I'm sure we'll see you next week at Zandvoort in the top 3 again. You've been having an absolute stormer of a season. I love to see it. I love to see you so happy and doing so well. You take care of yourself, mate.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao. Ciao, everyone.
Yeah. Goodbye. All right, I'm loving the vibes we're getting so far. Everyone just seems so happy. No dirty driving or anything like that. Who we got next into the... Oh, I love it. Okay, Mr. Kareem, welcome. Seems to be you've had an up and down rate. There's been moments. It was quite fun for us. Let's talk about the race win first off. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. As much as it might seem that I was cruising in P1, it was tough. Because it's very hard to overtake here. But at the same time, it is possible. So I'm just pushing flat out every lap. In the rain, on inters on a dry track with slicks, just pushing flat out, trying to keep my advantage despite the safety cars. And yeah, it was a good result in the end.
Nah, good on you. You need the skill and you need a bit of luck for it all to kind of come in. When you've got 3 cars like yourselves that were basically just fighting, at one point the second and third place are going to have something right. So you need to make sure you're in the right position. You did, and then you just were like 2 seconds ahead at the end, and that must have felt quite good.
Yeah, I knew Lolly might send it early on the final safety car restart because he'd sat behind me for so much of the race. He knows how hard it is to overtake. So I think he just wanted to try and get it done because he was quite close off the restart. But yeah, I think maybe he was a bit far back. He went a bit deep, and then yeah, him and Ben battled, gave me the gap, and I never looked back.
No, fair play. So the safety car restart that was a bit slow, was that you trying to get all the drivers to catch up?
Yeah. It wasn't for advantage or anything like that. I maybe waited a bit too much because Yorit was so far back. But yeah, he caught up in the end. Maybe he had a few exciting laps. And yeah,
he had some race, to be fair. His race could be a whole highlight video. That was quite mad.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you guys saw, but there was...
Oh, yeah! Let's talk about that. What was going through your thought at that moment? For anyone that didn't see it, Yorik got lapped and nearly took out Kareem, who was in the lead.
Yeah, I think I almost had a heart attack. I'm not going to lie. I saw him going slow. I saw the yellows. I saw him off the racing line. And then I saw the puncture. I was like, oh, I hope he doesn't spin in front of me. That would be bad. And then he did. And I was in the grass. Puncture? Yeah, I think so.
I don't even see that bit. Oh, yeah, honestly. What I saw it coming as well. Imagine that happens.
Yeah, that would have been bad. Scott, that actually reminds me. Because he was driving a Haas. I seem to remember an F1 24 race in Monaco where there was a Haas spun in front of me.
Do that. I think
from the lead of the race. Almost a carbon copy.
Oh, I'm getting flashbacks. This is so good. This is why I talk now, okay? I talk at this side. So much easier. Nah, Kareem, well done, mate. You are fast.
Thank you.
I feel like things are looking good, right? You're feeling happy this season, yeah?
Yeah. I feel like, it's still up and down. DNF win, D2.
That's you, though.
Yeah, I've never been any different, to be honest.
It's like highs and the lows, yeah?
Yeah, it makes it interesting. I
Yes.
think the sprint, I'm definitely a little bit salty about. I'm not gonna lie, because I think I bottled that. The end of lap 1, I was right behind Gillen, and then I ended up getting damage. And look, you won the race, Gillen.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just the ups and downs, I guess. And we'll see what happens for the rest of the season. I think I close in a little bit at the top of the table, but it's good fun.
Nah, good on you, mate. I love to see it. Well done. You did deserve it today. You put yourself in the right opportunity and you took advantage of that. So fair play to yourself. Have a great rest of your week, and I'm sure we'll see you next week in the top 3 again.
Likewise.
Well, I
Bye-bye.
won't be in the top 3, mate. I'm off. Right.
No, not the top 10.
Goodbye.
I hope you have a good evening.
Thanks, mate. See you later, all right? Okay, so we're going to look at the driver standings now. Let's see how it is. So we have Lolly Nova still in first place by 6 points to Tia McMurdoch. That is going to just spice up more and more in the season. I can't wait to see it. Razan Chai and Kareem now tied to 3rd and 4th. About 8 points behind Ben. Anything like 1-2 races can change that. That's cool. We then drop a little bit down to Ricky, who's going to need to pull himself out for the rest of the season if he wants a chance to win that. Gillen in 6th place with not being here for like the first 3 races is ridiculous. Vince in 7th, Fabio in 8th. A sad, disappointed day for Fabs, unfortunate to see. Sapso in 9th and Concept 7 in 10th. Alex, take us away.
Yeah, and even though we've done 2 of these now, where Grid Jokes remains in 11th place, not moved any positions there. Adam's added up to 12th. GB still in 13th, even being a reserve. And we got Matt and Chappers with a big jump up there into 15th now on 18 points. Tom still in 16th, and then we got Ryan, Tukey, Scotty Designs, who did have a good qualifying but didn't have a good race, and Yorit, who let's just say had an interesting race.
Yeah, I love it. Do you know what? I've had a great night. I really have. I like the sprint race format. I feel like it gives us a bit of racing. There's no safety cars. Let's look at the team standings quickly as well. So Ferrari still in first place. Love to see it. Let's keep that energy going towards Australia in a couple of weeks. Racing Bulls still above the Red Bull, 2nd and 3rd. Alpine and Aston Martin very close. Nice fight for 4th.
And Mercedes up in 6th with McLaren still in 7th, but Williams, nice jump up there into 49 points, very close to McLaren now. Sauber and Haas still propping up the bottom of the table, but it's all still to play for in the constructors' standings.
Love it. So, Sanderson, cleanest driver. Well done. Not a single warning. Kareem, awesome race winner. It could have been any 3 of them, right? You have these moments. You need to be in the right situation, and then you need to hope that one of the other guys does the send on someone, and then they both lose a second, right? You need that moment. TK, now you've had a chance to rest your voice for a few minutes. How did you find that event?
I think it was thrilling. It was great from start to finish. I think Silverstone is one of those circuits that promotes good racing. I don't sound biased as a British person, but it is one of the best circuits on the calendar.
Well, we would know. We were there. We loved
Exactly.
it, right? What great. And we got to see Hulkenberg on the podium.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, if you're going to go to Silverstone, that's when you go. Tom Wilkinson, your thoughts as well from that event. Sounds like you had a lot of fun.
Yeah, similar kind of thoughts. I think we had phases where it did dip in and out a little bit. The middle part, it felt like people were just sort of, digging into the trenches, just prepping themselves for later on. Had a lot of safety cars, whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing. It was certainly different to what we've had so far this season. We had some really dicey moments, some good battles right at the end as well, with some of the big guys going at it.
Yeah, I love it. And Alex, you've been the man behind the scenes with the plan, getting all the clips and everyone. How have you had fun? Who was your driver of the day?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I think Kareem obviously winning it was a very good drive indeed. I was going to say Scotty, but then he decided to not drive well in the race. But I think overall, I think Kareem deserves to win that Grand Prix. Yes, you can say what you want about the safety car. He was probably a bit slower than he should have been. But, coming up with the excuse of waiting for everyone to catch up was a really good one. Really good. Glad you gave him that, Scott, before he could answer the question. I gave him a really good answer there. But no, I think overall it's a really good race. And I think even though Kareem did get that opportunity to drive the distance, the 2 battles behind really made up for that. I mean, obviously having Gillen and Razin go wheel to wheel for like almost half a lap was really cool. And then Ben trying to go for a move in Magnus Beckett and losing DRS was a very interesting one indeed. I don't think I've ever seen that before. But yeah, overall it was really good fun to commentate and get clips for, so it was good.
I'd love to hear that. Right, guys, you know who we are. We are the Creator Series. If you want to stay in tune with us throughout the week, follow us on social media, where you'll see a bunch of instant replays. You'll see some on our YouTube as well. We're definitely going through a series of highlighting some of the drivers' best moments as well. And you can see all of this and more to get your Creator Series fixed before next Saturday, where we'll be at the Netherlands, as Ben told me, because I didn't know that. So there we go. So Tom, Knight, if we like you, where can we find you in the world? Please let us know.
Well, I'll tell you where you can't find me, and that's hosting highly competitive hopscotch tournaments in the hotel lobbies of Helsinki. You won't find me there this week. Normally, this is the part where I'd shout out my social media, but I feel there's something more important to shout out. We're heading over, when we end this stream, to raid into the 24 Hours of Mental Health. It's a fantastic event that loads of community teams are doing. We're trying to raise money, and if we raise 1,500 quid, I'll be dyeing my hair blue before tomorrow morning. So when we go over there, please give generously. All for Mind UK, a fantastic mental health charity. That's who I'm going to shout out this week.
I love that, and we definitely want to see you with blue hair. Definitely. Mr. Wilkinson, yourself?
You won't find me bowling with boulders in Bucharest. And I say the same thing as TK. Make sure you check out the 24-hour mental health stream going on. Obviously, heading over to that once we finish here. So make sure you check out. Some of us will be appearing on there over the course of the next 24 hours. And maybe you'll see TK doing an impression of a Smurf in about 12 hours' time, hopefully.
I hope we do. Alex, it's been a pleasure having you here. Where can we find you in the world?
Well, I didn't think of anything clever to say, so I'm not going to come up with anything quickly on the spot. But yeah, you can, as I mentioned by the other two guys, I'm going to be on the 24 hours as well for mental health. Mind is a fantastic charity, and we've done it for a couple of years now with their raising for health, and it just gets better every year. I mean, the fact we hit £800 raised in just 3 races this morning was absolutely insane. And me and TK have got a lovely 3 a.m. wet Monaco spot, so do join that for that, because it'll be me and TK so losing our minds over a Monaco Grand Prix. But yeah, if you were interested in what I've done, find me on Twitter at Deflington, and that's where you can find me. Still need to change that name because it's strange. But anyway, yeah, that's me.
I love that. Some people think games are just a silly thing to do in your pastime, but in moments like this, you can see it raise actual money for actual charities. Just shows you in this world, it's becoming more and more important. People understand that it's not just something you can do in your pastime. It's a way to connect to friends. It's a way to be a bigger and more important person in your own personal world, and we love to see it. So without further ado, that's where we're going to go. Please give generously. Please, if you can't do that, then at least share the broadcast. That is completely free, and that's something that can go a long way. I know personally how important likes, shares, follows are on social media. It is definitely the way to go if you can't donate as well. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute honour. I've been Scott Taylor. From me and everyone else, take care of yourselves. We hope you have had a wonderful race, and we'll see you next week with the Netherlands. Goodbye.